All right, I think we should be live. I didn't hear anything on my end, but I think that's just an OBS thing. Did you hear anything? The countdown? No? Okay. Well, I checked it on my iPad and I could hear the music there, so that's the important part. So, hello, I think we should be live. Doing it through a little bit different means than normal. We did some testing last night, which we had a lot of fun. Was planning only going to be, I was planning to only be live for like 30 minutes, ended up being like 2.5 hours. And Paul Hadouken hopped in. He was a great help, and a bunch of people in the chat were helping me figure out audio things. And it turned out we had some great discussion about video games and rock music and stuff. So, but there was some interesting news that I dropped on that one. That's a secret, so if you missed it, it's private, and you won't be able to see it until I announce further news. So, but tonight I've got a awesome guest joining me, which I was on his channel this last weekend for Get Ranked. And it ran much longer than we anticipated. So part 2 is going to be a week from Sunday, and where we were ranking video game consoles. So this is Devil Made Me Do It. Thank you for joining me tonight. No, I'm showing it. Yep. Interesting. Yeah, I pulled it up on my iPad here, and it says it's playing. So, but yeah, the chat is spinning for me, so I don't know what that's about. Hopefully, yeah, it's been doing that since we got in here. Oh, oh, it took my default info. I didn't give it a title or description, but, well, we may have some technical difficulties because I'm doing this through a different means than I normally do, because I was planning on having Devil Made Me Do It here for an hour and then have it was going to be game for about an hour before I had my second guest come on. But his schedule changed tonight, so he's available for as long as he wants to be here. So, yeah, so, well, welcome. And I think, well, this is obviously your first time on my channel. I don't know if you've been on any of my streams before. But basically all I do here is talk about video games, mostly the good, because there is plenty of negativity out there. But I just like talking about things that I love about video games, and take a different approach to most people who rage bait, I guess. Not that I have anything against that, but I know that there's a lot of that out there, and I do follow a lot of those people because it does anger me to see a lot of the stuff that is going on in all avenues of multimedia, whether that be video games, movies, or TV shows. But I like talking about video games and the things that I love about them. So, let's see wherever the conversation goes. So, if you are a follower of mine, you probably know I am pretty much just an Xbox guy. Not that I have anything against the other consoles. I would have all of them if I had the time and money for them. But I've been an Xbox guy since the original Xbox. I got into it with all of my buddies having Halo, and we played the bejesus out of Halo 1. We were over at each other's houses doing LAN parties literally like every week. And I've just been connected to Xbox ever since. So, but I was a my first console was a Super Nintendo, so I grew up as a Nintendo kid and switched over to Xbox in high school. So tell me a little bit about your gaming history. Yeah. We mentioned that on the stream last night because we were surprised that you were older than us, and we thought that you were younger than us. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, crap. Hmm. Due to saying that they can't hear you. I don't know why. Um, it's active, but yeah, it's not saying that disk. Oh, hold on. Shoot, thank you, dude, for pointing that out. I didn't notice that the Discord audio bar was not moving. So, technical difficulties. Maybe I need to switch. Ah, here we go. I think this should do it. All right, go ahead. I think we should be able to hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, there we go. All right, the bar is moving. So thank you for pointing that out, dude. We probably would have gotten halfway through the stream if it was up to me. So, sorry to have you repeat yourself. I could hear you, but they couldn't hear you. If you want to start over with where you started in your gaming career.
You got it. I'm an older guy, even though I sound young. So my original one was Nintendo Entertainment System, the original, and I never got into Sega. Stuck with Nintendo just because it was always a family system. And then when PlayStation came around, I got into PlayStation. Had an Xbox here and there, but never did too much with it because I was always late to the game. It's like it's been out for 2 years now. I got the Xbox. Everyone, so
yeah, I was the same way with
Halo.
the original Xbox. Because all of my buddies had an Xbox, I didn't really have a need for my own because we were always over at each other's houses. So I didn't have the original Xbox until probably less than a year than the 360 came out.
Oh man.
So.
Yeah, that's how it was. I think it was a year, maybe a year and a half before the 360. I got one, and then everybody's all, "Oh, I can play the Halo game." Everyone's all like, "Yeah, nah, we don't play that no more." So I just was always late to the game with Xbox.
It's funny because, like I was saying, we played a ton of Halo, and because the Halo was a launch title for the original Xbox, which came out November of 2001, which is, oh my goodness, I don't remember what date it was, but it's November of 2023, so that was now 22 years ago. My goodness, where does the time go? And then Halo 2 came out. I want to say it was September of 2004. I'm pretty sure it was 2004. I might have the month wrong. It might have been November as well, because I know that's when most big name games come out. Right in the Christmas window. But me and all my buddies, we all got Halo 2. But after a couple weeks, we went back to playing Halo 1 because we liked Halo 1 better.
My boss at the time got when that first came out, he was so psyched about it, and he was inviting some of the employees because he was a very young guy for being a manager of a Taco Bell. And he's all, "Oh, I'm gonna have everyone over and we gotta play this and stuff." He wanted to play, and so that was enough for me not to get the 360, just so I had an excuse not to. I was like, "I don't know how to play that. Sorry, dude. Can't come over and play a game at your house because I want nothing to do with him." So I ended up getting the Xbox, the PlayStation 2, and I've just been with PlayStation ever since then. So
okay.
Yeah, just like I said, I've always gotten the Xboxes. I just am always late to it.
Yeah. So, well, totally understandable if you skip the entire Xbox One generation, because that one was, I had it. I didn't get it at launch, but I had it, and I never regretted it. But they definitely, I mention it pretty often how badly Microsoft shot themselves in the foot at E3 2013, I think it was, when they announced it. So it's been a long road to recovery, and there's a good amount of time there where it was tough to be an Xbox player. And PlayStation players are all ragging on you and giving you crap for it. Did you have an Xbox One at any point, or did you skip that one entirely?
I don't think I did the Xbox One. No,
understandable.
I got 360.
That was peak.
Yeah, and it was good when I got it. I really enjoyed it, but yeah, I don't think I got one.
So you probably, so it doesn't sound like you were huge on the Halo franchise then, is that right?
No, like it's funny because I played a little bit of the original when I got a thing. And then I've played a couple here and there. I remember one, my friend, I don't know if it was 2 or 3. I went over to my friend's house and we were playing, and we're playing online, and I just kept getting killed by like a 6-year-old who teabagged the living shit out of me, and it kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. No pun intended. And after that, I just stopped. But they recently, Horny Alf has got me to start
Oh
playing the
yeah,
Halo Master thing, and
Master Chief
I've
Collection.
been playing that, and I now I'm like really enjoying it. The
Yeah,
going through the series. So
that's awesome to hear because I've never been big on multiplayer, especially nowadays. I barely ever play multiplayer anything. I'm all about single player games. Or my favorite, if we're playing multiplayer, is co-op stuff. So you and friends versus the game or whatever, rather than going online and getting owned by 10-year-olds that do nothing but play Halo or Call of Duty all day. Um, so I totally get where you're coming from there, but yeah, if you going through the campaigns in like a group, oh, it's so much fun. So, what
yeah.
I've seen the thumbnails of my feed. I haven't actually hopped in and watched any of them. Have you guys? Did you guys start with the beginning and you're working your way through all of them, or
He was playing 1 and 2. He did with just Ryan Reaper,
okay,
and
yeah,
then
those
on
ones were only
three
two
when it
player.
yeah, and then when 3 came up, he asked us on there, but then Ryan has the word. It makes it lag so bad every time he gets on.
Oh,
So
because
we
he's
ended up
Australia,
playing
huh?
3. Yeah, and so 3 it was just me, green-haired anti-liberal, and horny Alf playing 3, and then we were gonna do jump over to Reach, and it says not compatible with cross game, and me and her playing on computers.
Oh,
So
really? Certain
yeah,
campaigns are not crossplay.
yeah. The
That's
only one, it's funny.
ridiculous. They
Yeah, it's so
either all
funny
should
that
be or
3
all
is.
shouldn't be. That makes no sense.
Yeah, yeah. And so he's probably gonna have to go back to just playing with Ryan Reaper again. But I was playing Reach by myself because it was seemed fun, and I'm liking that. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
probably go through them all.
My favorite is Halo 3, but a lot of people's favorite is Reach. Those that was probably like the peak of the Halo franchise. I didn't. 4 gets a lot of flack. I don't think 4 was bad. It was good. It wasn't as good, but it was good. But 5 was definitely not very good. Um,
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yes, but yeah. So now we've seen a few of our friends file on into the chat. I'll say hi, hello, dude. Thank you for helping me notice that the audio was not working for Devil Made Me Do It at first. So thank you for being here. And I'll mention again at the end, but we have a new stream that we're starting tomorrow at 5 o'clock Pacific, where we're going to be talking about achievements and stuff. And we got Paul Hadouken hopping in saying howdy howdy. Hello, Paul. Thank you again for helping troubleshoot all this stuff last night. I got most of it figured out. Had a couple little technical difficulties at the start here, but I think we're good now. And then who did I saw? The Melee K is in here as well saying howdy. And
Mhm.
dude's Halo 3 was where he started his online PvP journey. That is probably the
Mhm.
one that one
Nice.
or Reach were the ones that I played online. Probably when it comes to online PvP, Halo 3 and Halo Reach were probably the two games that I've actually played online PvP like a good amount of. Like I said, I'm not really much for online PvP. I'm more of a co-op or single player guy. But those ones I did play a lot of online. Had a lot of fun with. Although I've mentioned a couple times before that because Xbox Live didn't exist during the Halo 1 days, me and my buddies found a program that you could connect your Xbox to, and it would trick your Xbox into thinking it was on a LAN when it was connected to the internet. So you could go online and play with people all over the world, and we would do that. And that was fun because we were really good, and so we'd go online and own people all over the world. So that was fun. And we had my good buddy Rocker Dude. He's been on for an open mic before, but haven't seen him in a while. Hello, thank you for joining us tonight for another open mic. And Jerry Crow, who was also in last night's stream, helping me troubleshoot, giving me all sorts of tips for audio and stuff. So thank you for joining me, and thank you for all of your help last night. So, all right, so you're not huge into Halo, totally understand. What are some of your favorite franchises?
Well, I like let's see. I played all the Uncharted, really liked the Uncharted
Okay.
games, all the Dragon Ages, really enjoyed those. Um Call of Duty. I've never been online though.
Okay.
Just the campaigns.
Yeah, I've played a
I'm
bunch of the
not the
campaigns, but haven't. The only one I played online a decent amount was Modern Warfare 2, the original. I almost got enough to Prestige, and that was only because I had a bunch of other friends that were playing it that got me to play it. But yeah, I'm much more into the campaigns as well.
Yeah, I'm by no means a good player at any game. So going online and like I said, after a couple hours of just having people own you so bad, it's like, oh yeah, the fun's gone. Where the So I've always stuck mostly to campaigns, which kind of sucks because now they make the campaigns so short because they're expecting that a lot of the content you're buying is going to be you playing online.
Yeah,
So
most
like
people
the
play COD
campaigns
for the
on Call of
multiplayer, so
yeah. And so they give you like you can literally beat it in like, 7 hours the story if even, and then it's all like, "Oh, game's done. Cost me $60. Yay." So,
yeah, with the
b-
because the last, well, I played Call of Duty 1, 2, and 3 on different consoles back when they were new. And then I played the Modern Warfare 1 and 2 on 360. But I didn't play any of the Call of Duties after that until the rebooted Modern Warfare in, what was that, 2018? So, and one thing that I liked about a lot of the Call of Duties, because I am an achievement hunter and a completionist, is that a lot of the Call of Duties, all of the achievements are for campaign. So if you don't want to do the multiplayer, you don't have to do the multiplayer to get the completion. There are a bunch of
yeah.
Call of Duties that haven't done that, especially the ones that are multiplayer only, like the Black Ops 4, which I don't know how well that did, but I remember there was quite a stink about it because it was multiplayer only. But when they rebooted Modern Warfare, I haven't played the rebooted Modern Warfare 2 yet, but it is in my backlog. But I did like that Modern Warfare 1 rebooted, or whatever you want to call it. I'm so sick of
Yeah.
this thing where they name a game the same thing as another game in its own franchise from years ago. It's like, just give it a different name. It's so annoying. But they
Yeah.
stuck to single player achievements in that too, so I was happy about that. The movies are even
I'm
doing it
I'm not
sometimes too, but the games are the worst.
Oh yeah, yeah, you do see that where they're trying to like just reuse the same name and not like any sequel to it. Yeah, it does get confusing.
Yeah,
I'm
the
not a
most recent one that just came out like a week or two ago, like Lords of the Fallen. I heard a lot of people talking about all of a sudden. I'm like, why are people talking about this game? This game came out like 5 years ago. It's like, oh, because they just made another game with the exact same name. It's like, why not call it something else? Give it a subtitle or something.
Yeah. I haven't none of my games have done that, but I'm waiting for Dragon Age to be rebooted and then it's once again Dragon Age.
So I was a big fan of BioWare back in the day. My favorite franchise of all time is Mass Effect, but I never got into the Dragon
Oh,
Age
it's
games.
great.
I'm sure I would like them, but just how big my backlog is, I don't need more games that are going to take 100 hours each to complete. Um,
Yeah.
but I totally understand the love for Dragon Age, and I know that there's a lot of talk or rumor. I think they technically announced the Mass Effect 4, but that's about it. Kind of like Elder Scrolls, they announced the title screen, and Metroid Prime 4 basically announced the title screen. There's been no news about it since. But has there been? I think there's been talk about another Dragon Age as well. Is that right?
Yes, there's a new one coming out. I think it's called Dreadwolf, Dragon Age Dreadwolf. And it's like I think supposed to jump off right when the last one Inquisition ended. So it's supposed to like literally I think just connect right to it.
Okay.
Um and yeah, they've been announcing it for such a long time that I don't really trust any news you get from it because it's all like, is it gonna, or is this just another rumor? Because there's so many that have come out. I think it's been announced like 5 or 6 years ago that they really kind of start talking about it, and you just haven't really gone anywhere.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Same
yeah,
with Prime
and
4. They
I
announced
played
it
the
in 2017, I think. And there hasn't been a peep on it other than they started over from scratch.
yeah, and I do play the Mass Effects. Those are very good games too. So I'm excited about that one too. But it's funny that right now they're saying they're going to come out with the Dragon Age and then the Mass Effect within a year of each other. You think, being that they're the same, uh, you know, development company, they'd have to spread them out a little bit.
Yeah, you would think
Two
that they'd
major
spread them
titles
out,
like that.
kind of like how
Yeah,
Bethesda usually alternates Elder Scrolls and Fallout. They
exactly.
don't cram them together because they are two giant RPGs.
Yeah. So I'm excited for both. I didn't play the last Mass Effect though, because everyone was saying it was so bad, and the thing with Shepard was already done, and so I was like, I don't know if I want to get into a new story of it, but
Yeah.
we'll see how the new one. It might be great.
Yeah, understandable. I yeah, everyone says that Mass Effect Andromeda is like garbage. I I'm a defender of it in air quotes because I don't think that it deserves as much hate as it got. It's not a terrible game. It's just nowhere near as good as the original because they set such a high bar. It's a decent
Yeah.
game. I'd probably give it like a six. It did
Hmm.
launch in a bad state. I didn't play it until about a year after it had come out when I got it on sale for $10. And
Oh,
by then
nice.
all the bugs have been fixed, so I didn't really have run into any bugs, and it has arguably the best combat in the franchise. But yeah, the
Mm.
story wasn't that great. The enemies are underwhelming. You have this entire new galaxy, and there's basically only you see more aliens from your own galaxy than you see of the different aliens you would expect to see in an entirely new galaxy. There's two. There's the Angara, which are the good guys, and there's the Ket, which are the bad guys. And then all the other alien races are the ones that came with you from the Milky Way. So they definitely could have expanded that out a lot. So it was
Yeah.
decent game, but I wouldn't recommend it to someone unless they were like as probably as a hardcore fan of it as I am.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna go back and play them again just because I saw that they have them on Game Pass. But
The EA
I got
Play,
the
if you have
original.
Ultimate, yes.
Yeah, I got Dragon Age again on Game Pass because I was like, I'm gonna play through it. It's been a while since I played them, so I'm gonna play through them all again. And I
Yeah.
can't get that thing to run for anything. So I don't
Oh,
know.
are
It
you
might be the same thing for all those.
you're playing on the PC?
Yeah,
Okay.
and it drops at the same point every single time. And I've went online, I looked at everybody. I'm all, oh, there, get this patch, get this thing. Okay, I got both those. Doesn't work. Oh, do it this, run it this way. I'm all okay, which is why I usually use systems because I I'm a computer illiterate essentially, and so every time I try to play anything on the computer, if there's even one like hiccup to it just running smoothly, I usually end up having to tinker with it for way too long and get bored.
Yeah, I was in that time where I was transitioned from being a Nintendo kid to an Xbox guy. 'Cause I was in high school. I also built a beefy for the time PC, and I was a PC gamer mostly at that point. But after that, PC fell out of being powerful enough to run anything. I didn't do any PC gaming until I got the computer I'm on right now. I got that built just last month, late September. So I've only had it running for about a month, and it can pretty much run anything now. But I haven't really played anything on it powerful except for, well, I've only been playing some old games on it because I don't really have much of a modern game library for this, but I have the ability now to play newer stuff. But if I ran into stuff like that, I'd probably be in a similar boat because it's been a long time since I've done PC gaming and figure out all the technicalities and stuff of getting games to run. So I feel you on that. That is one of the things that there's all the PC master race people. It's like, yeah, I get that you can do amazing things with PC gaming, but I much prefer gaming from my couch in front of my 75-inch TV rather than sitting at my desk in front of a 24-inch monitor, and this chair isn't the most comfortable, so I don't like sitting here for the longest periods of time and having to tinker with it and figure out stuff to get it to work. But yeah, it definitely does have its upsides when you have a lot more control of what you can do with your games and modding, especially. But
Oh
there's
yeah.
especially with lately. From what it seems, a lot of games aren't being developed for PC. They're being developed for console and then ported to PC, and some of the ports are just terrible and don't even
Yeah.
run. Like one of the latest examples was when they ported, was it Last of Us to PC, and it was just like a disaster. S-
Oh
Um,
jeez.
so, as with everything,
Yeah.
PC gaming has its pros and cons, as does console gaming. But I'm definitely much more of a console gamer.
They've been talking about the Xbox. It seems like Microsoft is like trying to not do consoles anymore. They want to go full PC because they're just expecting that a lot of people, their fans will play on a PC.
I've heard a lot of
And
those
so
rumors as well.
Yeah, so like that's why they're trying to push so much for this. You can play on your computer and you can play on your Xbox, so that they can kind of graciously push over to fully PC. Uh, so I wonder if they're just kind of saying, okay, let PlayStation have it, or if they're gonna actually keep the console wars going. Um,
I think they'll go for at
so
least one more generation. But yeah, I understand because basically almost everything that they do is both available on Xbox and PC. There are games that are only available on one or the other, but a vast majority is available on both. Um,
yeah,
so it would make sense. But a lot, not everyone has PCs that are capable of running stuff. I mean, I saved up for
exactly.
probably like 3 years to scrounge up enough money to be able to buy the parts to make a computer that can run it when you can buy a console that can run the stuff for a fraction of that price. I mean, of course, consoles are expensive as well, but you can get them on sale. They do deals all the time. They're much cheaper than a PC. Another thing that I being as frugal of a gamer as I am, another thing that bodes in the favor of consoles for me.
Well, I hope they don't do that, because as much as I'm not like into the whole console wars and people going so crazy on either one side or the other, I think that it drives really good games,
Yeah,
and
competition is always a
competition
good
and
thing.
everything. Yeah, and if PlayStation does just somehow win out on that, they're just gonna start, being crap on every game, because they're not gonna put the effort in. They're not gonna have to. They're not competing.
Yeah, I mean,
And Nintendo's never really kind of done a competition. Nintendo's always just been
they're
like,
off
we're
doing their
us
own
and we
thing.
don't, yeah, and we're happy with it. So,
Yeah. Yeah, if I mean, it's not console specific, but as a good example, just look at like all of the EA Sports games over the last like 5 or 6 years. They're so lazy
mm,
that they literally copy paste and update the numbers and the rosters, and that's it. And you're paying, starting from scratch, paying $60 or $70 for the game, and you're building all your cards or whatever and your loot boxes all over from scratch, and they make a fortune. But they'll I've watched a lot of Angry Joe's reviews on the sports games because it's pretty funny. They'll even You'll even see in the background of like NFL 24, but in the background the banner says NFL 23. They didn't even bother to update it. It's the laziest
oh
garbage ever, and
jeez,
people still continue to buy it. So
yeah,
the NFL, well, all of the major sports leagues, I couldn't care less about sports games. I have zero interest in sports games at all. But the sports leagues definitely need to not have one company have the monopoly on the license so that there can be competition and you can actually get good sports games again. The thing that I don't
yeah,
understand is why can't you just make, because like Madden or EA has the license to simulation football, but it's like, why couldn't someone just make a simulation football game? Literally, almost everything is the same, but make it good, and just use made up teams and made up players. I think I I'm not a market analyst or anything, so I don't know, but I think that would be a good thing because then you have people who are actually want good content out of their sports games would get it. The only thing is you don't have the name recognition of all the people who are in the actual sports leagues or whatever.
yeah. I think the first 2 years after EA got the football rights and made Madden's supremacy, they had Blitz, and Blitz, was a little more cartoony because you could do all the like hyper moves and set yourself on fire and all that. Uh, but they tried, but just yeah, people weren't picking up as much. So that there is something to that game, the name recognition. But I agree. Why did they ever sign a exclusive contract with them for that and FIFA and all that stuff? Because yeah, it's allowed them to just, like you said, it's the same game every single year, and everyone says it, but then they go out and spend the $60 to get them
And all
because,
the
oh,
money
I
on the
need,
cards and the loot boxes and stuff.
yeah, and
So
it
why would they
just,
change if they're still making billions off of these whales?
yeah, why put in the effort? Why put in any of that? You got him. You own it. You got the market. But I also heard that, aren't they losing the contract finally? Aren't
I don't
they?
really know much about the sports games. I am glad that EA is losing the Disney, the Star Wars license, so that we're actually going to be
Yeah, me
getting
too.
Star Wars games from other developers finally, because like the 2000s, man, was the cream of the crop for Star Wars games. You know, you had all these different studios developing different Star Wars games, and some of those are some of the best Star Wars games still to this day. And then Disney buys it, and over the course of a decade, we got Battlefield 1 and 2, Fallen Order, Squadrons, and Jedi Survivor. I think that's it. We've got 5 games. And, you know, Battlefield 1 and 2 were a debacle when they came out for different reasons. Fallen Order was the one thing that I say. I haven't played Jedi Survivor yet, so I can't say. But Fallen Order is the one thing that came out of Disney Star Wars that I say was actually pretty good. And I haven't played Squadron, so but it's basically an up-res of the old X-Wing and TIE Fighter games, which were excellent. So I'm glad to see that we're going to be getting Star Wars games from other studios. I'm not, although, the first one coming out is Ubisoft's Outlaws, which I'll have to see more about, but so far I'm not terribly impressed with it, but it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I played Fallen Order and I played Survivor, and both I enjoyed them both. I know that some people give them a lot of flack, but I enjoyed them, and you know, which is good for the fact that so little Star Wars stuff now we have to enjoy. That I'm glad I found at least one part of it that I enjoy.
Yes,
New
agreed. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like Jedi Survivor once I get around to it. And I can't scroll through the chat because my chat is being dumb. It's still loading, and it's probably going to do that the whole way. So before it disappears off my screen here, Jerry Crow is saying that World at War had a great story. I never played that one, so I can't say, but I know a lot of people really like that one. And due to saying that Blops 2 didn't have ranked mode achievements, it's multiplayer ranked anymore. Cut off there for me, so I can't see it due to them shutting down the playlist. And Kay says, don't play Dragon Age, play KOTOR because it's better. I can't say because I haven't played any of the Dragon Age games, but KOTOR is a good game. I see them releasing.
Yeah, I never got to play KOTOR, to be honest. I wish I did because everyone loves it, and so I'm sure I'd love it too, but I haven't got to play it yet. So, but yeah, when I get to, I'm sure I'll love it.
Yeah, I played it back in the day, back in high school on that PC I mentioned, and I had issues with it at the time. I have since kind of come around on that. I never thought it was a bad game, but I wasn't a huge fan of it. It does have an excellent story. I just wasn't a huge fan of the gameplay, given that it is what I call pseudo turn-based, which I've never been a fan of turn-based combat. So that was my biggest gripe with it, was that it is essentially a turn-based combat game, but it is a good game. But I've eased on my disdain for turn-based combat in my my old age. So now that I've got a new computer, I bought it when it was on sale a couple weeks ago for like $3 or something. So I do plan to play it again. I'm going to stream it. And I'm going to go Dark Side this time because I never went Dark Side the first time. And then I'm going to play through KOTOR 2 for the first time because I never played that one. And that one is an excellent game from everything I've heard. It just was a bit of a mess when it released because they were super crunched to get it out in time. But it has since been patched and stuff. And a lot of people say they like it even better than the first one. So I'm definitely looking forward to that at some point. And Kay was saying, it's fine to embrace console wars. The people who get a rabid... Darn, I need to... Oh, you know what? I should be able to stretch this out. And make... Oh, no. Let's see here. I think I need to do this. I need to make it a little bit wider so I can see what it's saying. Move it over here. There. Oh. Now it's cut off on the other end. I'm learning here, people, so thank you for hanging with me. All right. Oh, it's not quite right. The chat window is wider than it was last night. All right, where is it? Find and embrace console wars. The people who get rabid about it are just... Oh my goodness, I wish it would go over to a second line so I could read this whole thing. My goodness. Go to a second line, chat window. My holy goodness, dear Lord. All right, let's move us over here because this chat window needs to be so much bigger than I thought it did. All right, finally read the whole thing. I think it's fine to embrace the console wars. People who get rabid about it can make them cheap and sell at a loss at launch. Wait, nope. I think I just mixed the two up. There. Oh, it just jumped down and I switched comments at this while I was reading. People get rabid about it are just doing it to belong. They don't fully know what they are saying. Okay, yeah, totally get it.
I agree.
Jerry Crow says replaceable parts as a technology makes consoles life feasible as you can make them cheap and sell a loss at launch. There, okay, yeah, a modular console would be awesome. I don't think we'll ever see that though, but that would be cool. I remember seeing one time a concept for a modular phone, so you don't have to buy a new phone every year. You just buy new pieces. I don't know how that ever turned out. But I remember seeing that and thinking, oh, that's a really cool idea. They should do that more often. But Jerry says, but Microsoft as a company makes OS. I'm assuming that he's meaning by that operating system. Game Pass fits the model better. What made Windows so popular? Yeah. Angry Canadian's here. Hello, Angry Canadian. Thanks for joining us. And yeah. Oh, yeah. He mentions tomorrow Melee Games is having their monthly town square, so come check that out tomorrow night. That's going to be a blast. And yeah, Devil it played just like Dragon Age Origins. Paul says, I'm not sure what he was referring to, but sounds like he might have been a fan of Dragon Age as well. So. But yeah, because KOTOR 2, because KOTOR 1 was BioWare, as we've been talking about, Mass Effect and Dragon Age, they did BioWare, but Mass Effect, KOTOR 2 was developed by Obsidian, and they had like maybe a year to work on it. So they were like super crunched, which is why it came out in not a great state. And a lot of people they even cut stuff out of the final release of the game, and that's stuff that the modders have patched back into the game. So James mentions it all the time. He's like, if you play KOTOR, you need to add the content restoration patch or mod or whatever. So when I bought the KOTORs a couple weeks ago, I'm like, hey, what was it that you were talking about? He's like, oh, you just go here, and click this, and you're good to go. So I've got that all queued up because yeah, apparently they cut a bunch of like important story content out of the game to get it released on time. So
yeah, I heard that there was like a bunch like planets, even planets and stuff that they were missing or something
that very well
from the
could be.
original.
I don't know the details of it, but I know they cut content.
That's why I don't know why some of these companies hate on modders so much when modders really make some of these games so much better.
Yeah, I mean, it's modders that keep some of these games alive for so long. I mean, like Skyrim as a prime example. People are still modding that to this day, and that game came out in 2011. So, companies that are smart should support their modders, but companies that are dumb are like, no, you can't mod our game, or if you do, we're going to ban you and stuff. It's like, come on, get with the times. You need to get your heads out of your butts.
Yeah, some of the people at their home on their home computer are making better stuff than your company for,
yeah, it's like they're the ones fixing your game that you're putting out before it should be released, and they're, the ones fixing it, making it playable because you guys couldn't be bothered to.
Yeah. And it also makes people, if you're willing to put in the time to mod a game, it means you're passionate about it, and you should be standing behind that and supporting people who are passionate about your games, and not sitting there turning them off by threatening bans or shooting down their their mods because
shutting down tournaments just because.
Yeah, just. I'd say embrace it, especially because that's the future. It's going to continue. It's going to keep happening. So why not just get on board? Start supporting them. Say, hey, if your mod is that good, maybe in the next game we'll, put you on the crew or something. That would be great for these guys to think that maybe I could work on the next one of this because they like what I did so much. It'd be a cool idea to do.
Yeah. On one of my tests, I think it was my first gaming test stream on this computer 2 weeks ago. I showed off because I learned a little bit of Unreal, because I played when I was a PC gamer back in high school. One of my favorite games. I never really played it online because I was never bold enough to go play against other people, but I loved playing it offline against bots. Was the Unreal Tournament games, and Unreal Tournament 2004 was one of my favorite games back then. And I got so into it that I found, somehow I stumbled across it, that like the discs that it came on had all these like learning videos and tutorials and stuff on how to like use Unreal Engine to like build stuff in the game. So I learned a whole bunch of stuff about how to like use Unreal Engine, and I built a map. Not from scratch. I built one of my favorite Halo maps in Unreal Tournament, and so
That's cool.
because I still have that computer. It doesn't run anymore. So I was like, I want to get that on my current computer so I could show it off. So I had to pull the hard drive out and get one of those things you plug into the hard drive so it shows up as an external drive. And I pulled the data off. And had to get the game installed on here, and there was a whole ordeal with that because you legitimately can't even get the Unreal Tournament games anymore, like anywhere. It's like they've been wiped from the internet. So if you don't have them now, you're never going to get them. It was crazy because I was like, because I have the disc, but I didn't want to go through installing them all because it came on 6 discs. It's like I'll just go online. I'm sure I could buy it off of Steam for like a couple dollars. Doesn't exist on Steam. Doesn't exist on Epic. Doesn't exist on GOG. Doesn't exist anywhere. I'm like, what the heck? They're all gone. Just another thing to prop up the idea of preserving physical media that has been such a hot topic lately, because with digital only you can have stuff taken away from you that you bought. But yeah, so I was showing off the level I built, which is a spitting image of one of my favorite levels from the original Halo. So if you're interested in that, you can go check out that stream. But yeah, I learned a bunch of Unreal Engine. I thought it was Unreal Engine 3, but when I went back to look at it, I found that it's actually Unreal Engine 2. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it was that many engines ago, because they're currently on Unreal Engine 5.2, and some of the stuff that you can do with it is just nuts. But yeah, as long as you're not profiting off of your modding of people's games, unless of course you've struck some sort of deal with the developer or whatever, I think that companies should support their modders, unless you're trying to make money off of them without them knowing. That can be shady. But modders don't, as far as I know, modders don't sell their mods. They just go up for free. So and as long as, especially with single player games, if there's no multiplayer, then, and you shut people down for modding your game, you just talk about just coming across as a total a-hole. It's like, who are you harming by modding your own game when it's single player and you're not getting some sort of advantage or whatever in a multiplayer game? That I totally understand.
Yeah, 100%. If the mod is that people are getting, their guns are more powerful or whatever in some multiplayer game, then yeah, absolutely, put a stop to that, because you don't want it to ruin, the player base. If people are, it's just like with cheating, But yeah, on these single player games and stuff like that, all they're doing is making it better or having fun with it, and you should always support that as a creator.
Yeah, one of the things that I've mentioned once or twice, but I just finally got the completion in Doom Eternal a couple days ago. Doom Eternal is one of my favorite games from the last 5 or 6 years, and I have the Xbox version and the games for Windows version, but you can't mod those. So I'm thinking about buying the Steam version, because that one you can mod, because I want to learn modding of that game, because it would take a long time, but I basically want to take the building blocks of Doom Eternal and rearrange them and make a new game out of them. And I think it would be, I don't want to give away much more than that, because it's something I really want to do. But it would take a long time, but it would be, in my opinion, I think it would be super freaking awesome. So that's definitely something I'm looking into. And one thing that I was, when I started thinking about doing this, have you ever heard of the game The Forgotten City?
name sounds familiar, but I don't know if I'm thinking of it in video games or if it's familiar from another thing. So, but I can't remember enough.
Okay,
But I do
so
remember the name. So.
Forgotten City, it was on Game Pass. It left a year or two ago. I completed it before it left, and it was a very interesting game, and it started off as a Skyrim mod that the developers spun off into their own game. Yeah, see, Rocker Dude knows what I'm talking about. Forgotten City is great. Um, and it was basically this time loop game where you're in this, essentially forgotten by time city, and you're in like the ancient Roman time. So, but it's in like this underground cave that somehow everyone lives in and they can't get out. But it's this interesting time loop concept that was imagined as as a mod for a quest in Skyrim, but they spun it off into its own game. And given that Skyrim is by Bethesda, and Doom Eternal is, well, it's not developed by Bethesda, obviously it's id, but it's published by Bethesda. I was like, they modded Skyrim and made it its own game. So that gave me a lot of hope that maybe I could develop this and sell it as its own game and make money off of it. When I started looking into it, my heart immediately sank because the thing that they did was it started as a Skyrim mod, but at some point through development, they started over and rebuilt the entire thing as their game from the ground up in Unreal Engine, and that's how they were able to sell it as its own game and not have to like pay royalties or whatever to Bethesda. I was like, darn, it got my hopes up. So if I ever do my project of building Doom Eternal into a new game, I'll probably just have to do it for free, but I think it would turn out to be something super awesome. But I need to. First thing I need to do is buy the Steam version so I can actually start figuring out how modding of it works, because it doesn't seem to be as simple as using the Unreal Engine was once I kind of got the basics of it.
And it's so impressive when people can do anything on computers because I'm so computer illiterate that like somebody goes on there and goes, oh no, you just have to do this, this, and this, and I'm all like, oh, like, like I feel like the monkeys, like in Space Odyssey, where I'm just like completely impressed by something that's pretty normal. Uh, so yeah, I couldn't even imagine making a game. I think that would be so cool to be able to mod those old games like Doom. Like, do you remember Royal Rumble? That old wrestling game, like way back when,
I remember
I think it
seeing
was
the
for Super
cover of it,
Nintendo.
but I've never been into wrestling, so I've never really played any wrestling games. But I do remember the name of that game and seeing the cover of it.
Yeah, Green Rocks is really wants to get into making a game and use the Fellowship in it in some
Oh,
way,
that'd be
like
cool.
having. Yeah, he's talked about maybe where you side scroller and I was all or even old school Mario Kart, and I'm seeing there like that'd be so cool because you got to figure with the graphics at that quality, it's probably pretty easy to mod and add textures and different faces to the characters and stuff like that. So but he really wants to do that for the Legion and for the Fellowship, and so I'm interested to see where he goes with that. But me, I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
I'm way too computer illiterate. So
Maybe I need to talk to him because another thing is like I would love to start a game studio because I have ideas for what I think would be huge hits and really awesome games, but I only have a very basic understanding of computer programming because I was in computer class at like third grade. And I figured that once I got into programming and stuff, it would all come very natural to me. So when I started college, I started in computer science and quickly found out that it was not was not for me. So I changed my major. But I do have some basic computer programming experience, but definitely nothing I can make basic. I mean, that was 10 plus years ago now, so I probably wouldn't be able to do anything without looking at some textbooks or whatever to get some refreshers, but I could build some basic programs. But I've got all these ideas for awesome games, but I don't have the knowledge or the programming skill to do it. So it's like I need to partner with some people who also have similar vision, but also have the technical skills to be able to implement.
Yeah, that's how I am with writing. I got a really good imagination, and so I've got idea for a book series, got the whole thing in my head, just this massive world, very creative and stuff. My problem is I'm dyslexic, so
Oh,
my writing capability is nil. I can't write for nothing. It's all chicken scratch, and no one would understand it. So I've never
that
really
could
put
make
it
it
down on
difficult.
paper or got it into it, and that's one of the real things I wish I could do was just write. But,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So, all right. So, where to next? Um, Jerry Crow says that he'll probably sell music by vinyl or USB stick. Revolutionary, I know. The USB stick SD card is cheaper than vinyl, and Paul Hadouken, that vinyl is then kept in mint with the plastic. That could very well be a thing. Um, with the more and more people we get on board with physical media, given that most people are okay with giving it up for convenience, which I totally understand. But yeah, bringing physical media back, probably won't ever be as big as it originally was. But I know the more and more stuff that they take away digitally, the more and more people are more on board with physical media.
Oh
So,
yeah.
so what have you been playing lately?
Oh, well, with the friends, I've been playing Party Animals.
Oh, that game looks like so much
Like I,
fun.
s- yeah, it is. It's frustrating though. Oh man, when you're just getting knocked out left and right over and over again, you just want to rage. Uh, but I've also been playing, like I said, the Halo. Right now, Reach. Um, and then I wanted to, like I said, get into Dragon Age, but I've been having problems with that. I have. I have a couple games on my PlayStation that I need to get to, and I haven't. But I pretty much beat everything I had on there that I was playing. So now I just need to, get off my ass and start on the other games. Play Spider-Man 2. I haven't
Okay.
started playing it yet, but
Did you play the
I'm
first
gonna
one?
play that one. Yes, I completed that one. Got everything completed. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't get all the awards, so I didn't say I got completely did it. I got all the stuff on the map done.
Okay. Yeah, I use depending on who you're talking to, your terminology could be different. So, like when I say I beat a game, that means I completed the story. When I say I completed a game, that means I got all the achievements. So, I totally get it.
Everyone said that you're an achievement hunter, and I'm all like, yeah, I'm awful at that.
Yeah, I so when I said I completed Doom Eternal, I mean I finally got the last few achievements because I got basically all of them except for the last three within a month or two of it coming out. And the last three I'll talk more about on Dude and I's Achievement Chasers episode 1 that we're doing tomorrow night. But I
Oh,
went
nice.
back and got the achievements for completing the base game and the 2 DLCs in the extra life mode. So I basically had everything but those 3 achievements for close to 5 years now. So I went back and got
Yeah.
that. And now I started it last night. I am, as Paul Hadouken brought this term into my vocabulary, I have adopted it called panic playing a game, which means on Xbox for Game Pass games, when they are announced leaving Game Pass, you have 2 weeks to complete them, or if you're not a completionist, it probably doesn't matter. But if you're a completionist, it's like, all right, you got two weeks to finish getting all the achievements in this game, and I hadn't started it yet. And that is Ghost Song, which is a Metroidvania, which is like my genre of expertise. So if it's a Metroidvania on Xbox, if I haven't played it, I am going to at some point. And it is going to be leaving Game Pass. So I started that, and so I'm going to be panic playing that and planning to complete that before it leaves on the 15th.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
oh yeah, so you mentioned Spider-Man. So being that I've never owned a PlayStation, like I said, I've been an Xbox guy. I've never even owned a PlayStation. I've played PlayStation a few times at friends' houses, but there are a number of PlayStation franchises that I do want to play. And fortunately, most of them have all come to PC. So I can actually, now that I've got a PC that can play modern games, I can get those on Steam or whatnot, and I can play them. And Spider-Man is one of the ones. Obviously, Spider-Man 2 isn't on PC. It very likely
Yeah.
will be at some point. But I've got Spider-Man 1 on my wish list so that I can play that at some point because I've heard that that was a great game.
Oh yeah, I really liked it. I know some people weren't happy with the fight mechanic, but the story and just everything, I really enjoyed it. That was one of the big ones I beat. I didn't play it right when it came out either, but I beat that what about 8 months ago because I really jumped into. I had it forever, but I really started playing it because of the second one coming out. I was all I got to beat the
Okay.
first one before the second one comes out, otherwise it's just gonna be stupid.
Yeah,
And
I don't play much new stuff. I pretty much wait till I'm very frugal, so if it's not something I can play on Game Pass, it's I probably won't play it until I can get it on sale with all the DLC for like 50% off. So like a year or two after it's been out.
yeah, now Black Friday. You got to look out for those deals on Black Friday because sometimes the games that came out last year they'll have for like $20 on Black Friday, and you're like, yes, save me
Yes,
me
I'll
half
definitely have to
off.
keep an eye out for that. But I've got such a big backlog right now. It's like I could play for years and still not ever touch something that's been released in the last couple of years. Um, but yeah, you mentioned Uncharted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's another
Love
one
the
of the
Uncharted games.
PlayStation franchise that I've always wanted to play. And I know some of them because I don't even know. I know that there's Uncharted 1 through 4, and I think that there's some spin off games. I don't know if all of them are on PC, but I know some of them are. But I would like to play all of those as well.
I'm surprised they haven't because they on you can get the box set of all of them. Now that some of them are so old at this point. Uh, for like $20 on PlayStation. Usually when they have it where you can get the whole thing for $20 on PlayStation, they'll move it to PC by then. But yeah, they're very fun, very story driven, just really good games. The first one's a little rough, but the story's real good too. So I would definitely suggest playing them. They're very, very fun to play.
Yeah, I think I have them on my whatever ones are available on Steam. Haven't looked at some of the other marketplaces if they're available there, but I've built a little bit of a Steam library, and whatever one is the collection on Steam, I have on my wish list. So I'm keeping an eye on that. Another. Did you ever play the Horizon games? Because those are ones that I'm also interested in playing at some point since they are on PC as well.
I haven't played the new one. I played the original of the Horizon. I liked it, and I would play the only reason I didn't play the second one is because it seems like it came out, and I can't remember if something else at the same time came out that just kind of took the wind out of it,
Okay.
and I just never got around to it. But I did play the first one, and I really enjoyed it, even though I wasn't that very good because it was all like, oh, you got to roll behind this, and shoot them in the back, and I'm all like, yeah, but I suck at that. It was a slog to get through, but I did play the first one.
Okay. Angry Canadian says that the first Horizon is great. The new one lost me with the downgraded character models. Yeah, understandable.
Yeah,
She definitely didn't look as good as the first one. Um, but I'm pretty sure both of those are on PC, so I'll probably play them at some point. The one major PlayStation game that I really want to play that is not on PC, I hope it comes at some point, and I mentioned this a few times, is the Ghost of Tsushima. I really hope that comes to PC because I really want to play that game.
yeah. I got it. I haven't started playing it yet, but everyone says it's really good. So at some point, I'm gonna get into it. And I'm sure I'll be intense about it when I do start playing it. But like I said, it's one of those things where I just have to put it in, and start it. Um,
Yeah,
but
sometimes
yeah,
I want to play this game, but it's like this is such a huge time sink. I'm not sure if I want to put that much time into this huge game right now. It's like I'll play some of these other shorter games first. So yeah, I
yeah,
totally know.
especially since starting YouTube. Yeah, starting doing actually making a show and being on so many people's shows and stuff. I just don't have time to devote to pretty much anything. Uh, and so it seems like, taking it on, do I really want to make it where I'm sitting there trying to get a thumbnail done or the list done for the next get ranked, and all I can think about is going and playing that game, because that's the worst when you're so intense wanting to play that game, but you have responsibilities. And so YouTube has really taken the wind out of the sails of how much I used to play on. So that's
Yeah, it hasn't
why I
taken
had
the
such a
wind
back.
out of my sails on gaming, but I have my gaming has scaled back a bit because I have been not like a ton of time, but I have been spending more time doing YouTube stuff, which has been a lot of fun too. So I
Yeah.
definitely, if you were to look at my achievement progress over the last few months, because I started my channel, I think in late June, has
Mhm.
definitely gone down a little bit, but for good reason. So, when did you start your channel?
Oh God. Uh, when did I start my channel? I think it's been about. I'm on episode 19 of Get Ranked, and so how many months ago would that
You
be?
do that every week?
Yeah.
Okay. So
So it's
19, 4 months would be 16.
so
So about 20.
5 months.
So about 5 months. And it's just at the
Yeah.
beginning
So
of
about five
November.
months.
So that'd be about June. So it sounds like we probably
Yeah.
started our channels like almost at the pretty much the same time.
Yeah. It's Yeah, I was on everyone's channel for a long time before that, and I didn't really want to do a channel. Didn't really think about it because I didn't know what I would want to do it on. I knew I wouldn't want to do it on the same kind of everyone I'm on. It seems like it's a panel show, and I'm all like, I don't think I can do it any better than any of them. So why even kind of jump into a very crowded pool? Which is why I did get ranked because I was all like, I'll do something that's kind of like game show kind of idea of it, and so I was like, I'll take my channel that direction. And then just recently I started the pub because I like the way panel shows are set up with discussion, but I was like, I want one that is no topics. No, we're not gonna talk about the newest movie, we're not gonna talk about the newest anything, just conversations that you would have with your friends at a bar type idea. Talking about the kind of stupid questions they used to do in high school and I said, you know what, I'm gonna just do it. And so that's been the newest thing I've been working on a lot, even though it's a lot easier than doing Get Ranked, because Get Ranked is a
Yeah,
ton of
you
work.
got to
But
do a lot of research for that. Yeah, because I'd been wanting to start my channel for a few years. I just didn't have the time for it. But this year, my schedule, IRL changed, so it freed up some time for me. So I was able to. It's like, all right, I can finally start my channel and just do it for fun. It would be cool to get monetized, but I don't see that probably ever happening. Because basically all I do is live streams. I don't really have a whole lot of time to do edited content. But the idea I had for years that I wanted to start my channel was my party chat streams. Um, but after I had a few episodes of those, I'm like, I love doing my party chats because we have fun video game topics, but I want to do something a little more unstructured. And that's where the idea just popped into my head. I want to do something that's like an open mic sort of thing. I'm like, oh, that's a good name for it. So I just started doing it, and so that's how this came about. And just have people on to just talk about video games. We'll go wherever the conversation may go. Um,
yeah.
so I've had a lot of fun with these as well. Because a party chat is every other week, but I can do this pretty much every week. It just the time
Hmm.
fluctuates each week.
Yeah.
So sometimes it'll be earlier, like tonight we started at 6 Pacific. Sometimes it won't start until like 10 Pacific. Um, but I can pretty much do that every week, so it gives me a lot more chance to not be structured and get a lot more, talk to a lot more people, and make some more internet friends.
Oh yeah, the conversations on stuff like this are great because you just like you're saying, you don't know where the conversation is going to go. It just flows, and so yeah, I've really had a lot of fun doing mine, and so yeah,
Yeah, I've made a lot of, I'm only at like 84 subs, but I've made a lot of good friends already, like the Melee Games crew, Jerry, Angry Canadian. I I was friends with Nerdporial before, back when I was still just Brobafett. But yeah, I've made a lot of good friends online here. So it's been a lot of fun for that as well. And Angry Canadian and Jerry Crow both say the Ghost of Tsushima, I always have trouble saying that one, were awesome. And Angry Canadian is saying that it should have won Game of the Year, which, yeah,
It should have.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Last of Us 2 got it over Ghost of Tsushima.
Yep.
Yeah, that game. Obviously, I've never played either of them, but I have followed both of them, so I know pretty much everything there is to know about them, and that game can go die in a fire.
Yeah. I play. I think I played the first one. I remember the story completely, but I don't know if I was the one playing it or
Or
if
whether
I
you're
just
watching
watched it.
someone
But I
play.
remember the story. Yeah, which shows you. But I did like it, and or
Yeah,
maybe I started it and then ended up just watching somebody play it. But either way, but yeah, when I went to number two and I heard that they were killing off Joel, I said, "Look, I appreciate being able to play as both them, but when you kill off a main character that everyone kind of is beloved, and then you force them to play
plays
as
the
the person who
killer.
killed, yeah, you're kind of setting yourself up for me to say no."
Yeah. So that's another one that, even though I pretty much know everything about it, I do want to play through the first Last of Us at some point, and that one is available on PC as well. So I heard that I know that one has a really good story, even though I pretty much know all the
Oh
plot
yeah.
twists. But yeah, and yeah, Angry Canadian saying that open mic is always a blast, so appreciate that. And yeah, and I have fun just talking to people and getting to know people and talk about video games. So. One thing that I just thought of just now, not video game related, but your avatar. How did that come to be? Is that what you kind of look like if you just added horns, or what is that
uh,
about?
it came about when I first started out, I can't remember my first name on Twitter, but I went over to Pee Wee as my senpai and made this Pee Wee character. And then at some point, I was all like, I just want to change it up. So I called myself Devil, made me do it when I started doing memes. And everyone started just calling me Devil. So I just went, okay, I'll go with it. And so I became the Devil. Well, when I went to the meetup in Vegas,
Oh, cool.
um, yeah,
I
one
hope
of
I
the
can go to
guys
one of
from
those
Legion
at
of
some point.
Oh, it's fun. You should definitely try it. It is fun. The Vegas one was awesome. One of the guys from the Legion, a serious man. I don't really take pictures with people since I was, I keep myself anonymous. At some point, I might show my face and I might go public, but he wanted a picture with me, and I guess we didn't get a chance. I would have given him a picture, just tell him not to show it. Um,
Or
and
at
so
least
he
not
used the picture.
identify who you were.
Yeah. I'm with picture with somebody. Don't know his. So he took a picture with Sheepsidian
Okay.
and put my avatar over Sheepsidian, and so everyone assumed that I was a black man, and so it became this thing where I started playing like I was black and teasing that I was black and saying, "Oh, I'm offended by that," and all this, doing all
What do
these
you mean,
things.
you people? What do you mean, you
Yeah. What do you
people?
mean? Exactly. And so then they're all like, "So are you really black?" And I'm all, "No, I'm not black." And so I wanted to say I'm short, white, and balding. And so I said, "Just think of Danny DeVito." So then I became Black Danny DeVito.
That is what
And
when I first saw your avatar, I thought that not that I've ever seen what's that show? Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I've never actually seen it, but I know Danny DeVito is in it, and that's what I thought of when
yeah,
I saw your avatar.
yeah. And so that's how it came about, was I became Danny DeVito. And so yeah, I even though I'm not that bald, I'm not that short. Um, it just kind of fit. So now I'm Devil Danny DeVito. Sometimes I'm black, sometimes and so that's how that came about.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I've got some family in Vegas, and so I'm thinking if I have some more money, hopefully by April, because I think that's when they normally do it. Maybe I'll be able to make it out to this one, but I definitely want to go at some point, because that'd probably be a blast.
Yeah, I know that Soldier, he wants to do a panel show from there, a live show, because they have a studio out there that everyone uses, and so they do Friday Night Tights from there, and they do uh, Culture does a show from there. I think Comics does a show from there, and so it was next time we all go out there. Soldier Spirit wants to have a show out there and stuff, so it might
Ooh,
be cool
I don't.
to check into and see if all of us could get on a show, do a live show.
That
I
would be
mean,
cool. Yeah, I don't know who that is, but another thing is because the last time they were there, they did it from the Salty Nerd Podcast Studio, and I'm pretty
yeah,
tight with them.
yep,
I'm good friends with Alex and Matt Vader, so that'd be another group that I would stop in and say hi to if I was there.
yeah. That I would like. The only problem is I can't really do a live show, so I don't know how. Unless I decided to
Get a,
show my face, I'd have to
you can get a
somehow.
mask of your avatar.
Yeah, I'll get a devil mask or put some devil makeup on because, like I said, I have no problem with people seeing that I'm a short, stubby dude. I'm not like, oh God, I don't want people to see that I'm fat. I just don't want people to see my face. I don't want to, because where I
Understandable.
live, I'm close to the Oregon border, so I go into Oregon uh, for a lot of stuff. And I've actually had encounters with Antifa, and so I'm like, I don't know if I want to, put my face out there, and also just my work. I don't want to
Yeah,
get that all
understandable.
connected. So,
Totally get you. So our Oregon border, you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but are you in Oregon or are you on a bordering
no, I'm
state?
in
Oh,
California,
okay.
but I'm very close to the
Okay.
border.
So you're probably about 5 or 6 hours north of me then.
Yep.
So, cool. All right. Well, what else? You need to go or anything, or are you good to keep going?
Um, you know what? I probably should take off. Not that I have something to do, but I can start working on stuff that I've been putting off. So if you want to play your games, I will. I'll check out and just watch.
All right. Oh, and dude is hot. Oh, dude's hopping in from Twitch instead. What's fractured gamer score? I'm not sure what he's referring to. What's fractured gamer score? You're gonna have to be a little more clear for that for on that for me, Rocker Dude. I'm not quite sure what you mean. Um, oh, fractured filters gamer score. Is fractured filter
Oh,
here? I didn't see him. I can't scroll through it. I don't know if fractured filter is a. Oh, maybe it may be on my end because I might have screwed up when going live. That because fractured filter was on my channel a couple weeks ago, but this is Devil made me do it. He's not an Xbox guy, so I don't even know if he has a gamer score. Do you have a gamer
yeah.
score?
If I did, it would be so bad. Not worth mentioning. Like I said, I am not a good gamer. I am definitely not a completionist, and I play just anything that looks interesting to me. So I'm not like really into any one genre or stuff. So
Yeah, I play stuff
I'm
all
I'm
over
the
the
worst.
board.
Yeah, I'm the worst gamer. Like I by no means would consider myself a gamer. I'm just the average dude who plays games.
Yeah, I play pretty much anything except for there's a couple genres that I don't really do. I don't do fighting games. I don't do RTSs. Um, and what's the other one I always mention? I don't do JRPGs. But I'll pretty much play anything else. So, yeah, completionist. So, I talk to Rocker Dude all the time in Discord and stuff, and we're on True Achievements, so we see each other's gamer score. But the guest, Dude 1286, who I've had on for open mic before, and we're starting our new show tomorrow night called Achievement Chasers, where we're going to be talking about achievements. He has a pretty decent gamer score as well. I think, although he has a not as much gamer score as me, but he does have a higher ratio, so his average difficulty of his achievements is higher than mine, because he goes for some of the more difficult games. Not that I don't have difficult completed games as well, but his average is higher than mine. He's got probably around, I think he's around 230,000 gamer score or so. So we'll be talking about achievements tomorrow night. So with that, anything you want to plug before you bounce on out of here?
Yeah, check out me and Paul and Kenzo and Ryan Reaper on the pub every Saturday morning at 12 a.m. Pacific.
That's Bell's the Pub, which
Yep.
I will try to add. I don't know if I did. I think I added it into, I'm going to pull it up here real quick because I'm almost positive that I pre-added it to the description. But yeah, you guys just talk about whatever.
Yep, and it's a little raunchier, but that's why it's so late at night. But yeah, it's
that's
just
why. Okay.
like I said, it's just friends bull talking about anything. The conversation goes everywhere, and we never know where it's gonna end up. And then check out Get Ranked every Sunday, and you know, if the list is something you're interested in, because same thing, it goes all over the board. I do lists on everything, and then you can find me a bunch of other places on a bunch of other people's channels. You just have to look out for me, and you'll find me.
Okay, and because I'm doing the stream a little bit differently, the stream description details are incorrect right now, so I will fix those after the stream because it's saying
No
special
problem,
guest
man.
Paul Hadouken from August. So I will update that, and I will add the link to your channel there after we're done here. But yeah, Bale's Pub, and yeah, Get Ranked, which is there going to be a Get Ranked this Sunday, or are you skipping it entirely?
No, this Sunday I have something I got to do, so I'm skipping this week. Then next week we'll come back and finish up the systems.
Yeah.
And then after that, I'm not sure what we have next list, but I will make sure I put it out there.
Yeah, so check out Get Ranked. The last one from last Sunday was a blast. I was on that one, and we were ranking video game consoles. Let's see, where did we leave off? I think it was. Were we leaving off
Was it
around
64?
the PS2 64 era, about there?
Yeah, I think we jumped over 64 and started PlayStation, and I think that was our last one.
Okay, yeah.
Because we knew that the 64 would be a very long conversation.
Yeah,
so.
that's right. So yeah, we'll be on part 2 next weekend, not this weekend. Next weekend, we'll be continuing that discussion where we're ranking video game consoles, starting with the N64 on until current day modern consoles. So, well, thanks for hopping on here, and had a blast talking to you. And I will see you on Get Ranked. If you ever want to come back on again and talk video games, just let me know.
Okay, I will. And thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't get to talk about video games that much. Everybody that I'm on their shows, they want to talk about the newest movie and stuff. And so, yeah, it was really interesting to be able to talk about games for once.
And dude corrected me. He's at 246,000 gamer score now. So thank you for that. I was off by about 10 grand.
I'm like at 2, so. All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Well, have a good night, and I will talk to you later. So,
Bye.
yeah, if you want to. There we go. All right. Oh, I'm hearing myself twice. Let me know if you guys hear an echo or if it's just me. So, I have another guest coming on in about 40 minutes at 8 o'clock Pacific. I'll be having Static 2020 on. We'll be talking more about video games. Okay, it's just me. I'll just ignore my own voice in my ears. So thank you for letting me know that you guys don't hear an echo. That's the important part. So in the meantime, I am going to go away for about maybe 10 minutes or so. I'm going to keep the stream going. And then when I get back, I'm going to do a little bit of gaming until Static gets here, and we'll do some more open mic. So if you guys want to hang out, cool. I will see you shortly. Otherwise, we'll catch you later. So let's see here. I'm going to pull up my music. All right. All right, you should be able to hear the music. And let's go. All right, and we are back. Sort of. Let's see here. You can't see me. Let's see here. Should I do? Oh, maybe it's because he left the call. Technical difficulties. Oh, could you guys not hear the music? Hopefully you should have been able to hear the music. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you should hear the music. So, that music was, the first one was a cover by my buddy Paul Hadouken. And the second song was a remix by my another buddy, DJ Axis. So, I'm trying to figure out... oh, I know what I need to do. Because in order to use Discord camera, you have to turn off your camera in OBS. So I just need to go back to my camera and activate. There we go. But yeah, because I had to make this chat window so big, it's covering me. Because it should not have such a long window. It should bump the text down to the next line, but it doesn't. That's kind of annoying. So, all right. So we're going to do a little bit of gaming until Static gets here. Oh, you know what? I don't know if I'm friends with him on Discord. Static. Am I friends on Discord? We are. Excellent. All right. So in the meantime, let's hook up my controller. I'm gonna move that window over there. All right. Let's see here. Display. No, wrong display. Want to do that? Nope, not that one. There we go. That's the one we want. Oh, wait. No, I want... There we go. I want to see me and my screen. I just can't see the chat now. Let's see. You should get desktop audio. Get my microphone. All right. Let's go... Connect to my Xbox. Yeah, why is the chat just spinning the whole time? Oh, you know, I should be able to turn on... Do I have a dock for that? No, I don't. Ah, darn. Okay, what I can do then is I can pull it up on my iPad and just keep it muted. There we go. Okay. Yes. Angry Canadian was saying that this cover is good, which I'm assuming he is referring to the Metroid one from Paul Hadouken, which is somewhere from Super Metroid. Excellent song. So I figured I would just putz around in one of my favorite games, Subnautica. This game, this playthrough is technically my first playthrough of Subnautica. I briefly went over it. I'm going to sit down so it doesn't, so if you sit down in a chair, can you see my cursor? No, now you can. Your health and thirst meters don't decrease like they do if you're walking around. So you can sit down and not pause it. Time still passes, so it'll get dark. But you don't have to worry about food and water if you're sitting down at a chair. But, so this is my very first playthrough of Subnautica, the save from it. Because there's multiple difficulties, if you want to call it that. There's the base difficulty is survival, and it has, as you see, you've got your oxygen, you got your health, you got your food, and you got your thirst. After about 10 hours of playing it, I was really annoyed with having to constantly get food and water. So I was like, can I play it without that? And I found that there's what's called freedom mode, which is everything is exactly the same except there's no hunger and there's no thirst. All you got to worry about is your health and your oxygen. So I started the game over on freedom mode and played through it on that, and that was my first full playthrough. And since then, I've beaten the game like 6 or 7, 8 times. This is my third playthrough just this year, and I decided in October I was gonna pick up with that very first playthrough and finish it out. And I'm almost at the end. If you've played it, I have already. The last thing I did last night before I went to bed was I fabricated the hatching enzyme. So I'm very late in the game. Basically, all I have left is building the rest of the rocket. And Rocker Dude is saying, which console commands did you use? The only console command I use is this one. So when it gets dark, I can make it morning again. I don't have to play at night. That's all I do. I did not use the console commands to complete the game. I completed the game before the console commands were discovered. And I'm glad I did, because I might have been tempted to do it that way with the console commands and not actually play the game. And if I had done that, I might not have actually played through the game and fallen in love with it. But I was disappointed when the console commands were discovered, because it dropped the ratio from a 3.7 to a 1.7. But I freaking love this game. So we'll hang around here for a little bit until Static shows up. And let's go hatch. So spoilers if you haven't played this and are planning to. I'm gonna go hatch the eggs. I'll leave it at that. So if you don't want any spoilers, then you might want to tune out for a couple minutes. Oh yeah, so see, it's night. I'm going to make it morning again. So that's the only thing I do with the console commands. You can set the because I want to say that one day in the game is like 20 minutes. You can change that so that a day takes. You can basically set it to anything you want for how long a day takes. And I did that the first time, and I slowed down time so that it would stay day longer. The annoying thing is that it slows down everything in the game when it comes to time. So when you try to fabricate something, it takes way longer. So I set it to like 0.1, so it's 10% of normal speed. So if I fabricated something, it took 10 times longer for it to actually build. So that was really annoying. So now instead of slowing down the time passage, I just reset it to morning whenever it gets dark. I heard a Discord notification, but I didn't get anything. I guess I could play it over here. Ah. So if you haven't played this, I highly recommend you play it legit and don't use the console commands and play through it for real, because it's a fantastic, excellent game. And anyone who did use console commands, you missed out on experiencing a great game. I don't throw shade at you because I do console commands for other games, but this one is excellent, and I think you're missing out if you use console commands to skip through the game.
next we meet, I will be an ocean current, carrying seas to a new land. Or a creature so small, it sees the gaps between the grains of sand. Farewell, friend.
So, yes, I got it was dude that sent me something. It just didn't give me the notification. And Nerdporial, this is Subnautica, one of my favorite games of the last decade. It originally came out in like 2014 on PC in like early access. I don't think it came out on Xbox until 2018. But I freaking love this game. I've probably beaten it. I think this is like my 9th time. I'm very close to the end. But I freaking love this game. But hello, Nerdporial, my good buddy. I guess you are off your stream with Jacob Ironside, which I am looking forward to us doing something together at some point. He asked me if I wanted to be on one of his streams in October, but they were all these super old, like 1930s movies that I don't know anything about. So I was like, I would love to be on your stream and talk about movies as long as it's something I'm familiar with. And I'm happy to have him on. I'm happy to have anyone on for open mic who just wants to talk video games. I never thought I was right about your stream biting. Nerdporial has been on Party Chat, but he has not been on open mic yet. So we might have to change that. A little more open-ended and less structured than Party Chat. So I have the cure, so now I can deactivate the alien weapon platform. And then all I have left is build the last 2 pieces of the rocket. Yeah, Angry Canadian's been on. If any of you guys who have already been on, you want to come back on and have another open mic, let me know. Happy to have you on again. Yeah, Angry Canadian, I had a great chat. The missile expansion in the corner. No, this is not Metroid. There are technically no real weapons. You get a survival knife. And the only gun is the propulsion cannon, which is basically like the gravity gun from Halo. And the stasis rifle, which you can use to freeze things for like 20 seconds. Especially useful against large enemies, I'll say that. But yeah, no real guns. It's a survival game. You can use your knife to dissuade enemies from attacking you, but sometimes they don't care. Yeah, it almost looks like a bomb expansion from Metroid, but no, it's an alien device of some kind. And no, it's not Chozo. I think the aliens in this are referred to as precursors. They don't really say it in this one because there's not much dialogue. There's much more dialogue in the sequel, Subnautica Below Zero. So that one is good, but not. Most people don't consider it as good as this one. Looks like the energy cell from Prime 3. I swear it's on Metroids. It's not technically a survival horror, but it does freak a lot of people out in like that I wasn't expecting to be scared of this game, but it can be very freaky, given that you can go, very, very deep. And there are large creatures, which I will show you an example of. The Reaper Leviathan. They usually stay to certain areas of the map, so if you know the map, because there's no actual in-game map. But if you play it enough, you can learn where stuff is, and you can know where they hang out. And there is one that hangs out right there. So you kind of want to keep your distance. I did see Chozo here, just like I saw Chozo in the Mexican Metroid game. Yeah, I forgot. Oh, the Mexican Metroidvania is Guacamelee. Those are great games, and there are a ton of Easter eggs in those referring to other games. And yes, there are Chozo statues in Guacamelee. Oh yeah, the giant eel in Mario 64 terrified me at first. Something like that here. Yes, very much the same sort of thing. I actually just saw a list this last weekend of games that were like not meant to be scary, but were, and that eel from Mario was #1 on the list. Precursors are Halo 2. I thought so. I may be getting the aliens in this wrong. I might be getting that mixed up with Halo. But I'm pretty sure they call them precursors in this as well. But I've only played Below Zero twice, maybe 3 times. And I haven't played it since around this time last year. So I may just have the name wrong, but they are ancient, super advanced aliens that have built, these facilities. So yep, Guacamelee. Yeah, great games. If you are a fan of Metroidvanias, I highly recommend the Guacamelee games. I did personally prefer the first game a little bit more than the second one, just because in the first game, I forget what it's called, but you get like this super mode where you build up your bar and you can activate it once it's full by, I think you click both joysticks. And you go into like the super mode until the bar runs out. They removed that for the second one, and I really like that feature. So that's basically the only reason why I like the first one better. But they are both great games, and they are funny. They got lots of Easter eggs and references to other franchises. Alright, so what I need left is I've got the sulfuric. Crystalline sulfur is the yellow one, is this one. It's in my storage at my base. I've also got 4 cranite. I only have 1 ion power cell. Obviously, I have a plasteel ingot, so I need 1 more of these to build this part of the ship. I think we're having an eclipse. That's why it just got so dark. Oh, is it already passed? Yep, eclipse. Yeah, every once in a while you'll have eclipses where the moons or whatever pass in front of the sun because the planets or moons or whatever they are very close to this planet, so they take up a lot of the sky. Hey, what's up, Jacob Ironside? I was just mentioning you because I saw Nerdporial hop in, and I know you were on his Chillporial. So, yeah, we have to do something at some point. You're welcome to be on here anytime if you want to talk video games. I would love to be on your channel if we talk about... Doesn't have to be video game related, just movies that I'm somewhat familiar with, not movies from 80 years ago that I know nothing about. But hello, Jacob. Glad you could hop in for a little bit and say hi. I've got a new guest coming on. Well, we're scheduled to connect in about 10 minutes. Cool. Yep. He just messaged me. He said he'll be ready to go shortly. So I'm just playing a little game, playing a little Subnautica in the meantime. So I just need 1 more ion power cell. In order to do that, I need 2 more ion batteries, which I've got the silver. I've got the ion cube. I just need gold. So let's go find some gold, which is in sandstone. And let's eat a little bit. Oh, is it night again? It is night. Let's make it day. So I need 2 gold to make 2 batteries. And then I can build the next part of the rocket. And I've mentioned this on a few people's streams because I've recommended them. Like, you got to play this game because I love this game. Oh, Rocker Dude has asked me about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. No, I have not seen that, and I don't have any plan to. That is one that I did use the console commands or whatever to complete. I'm not about scary or jump scare stuff, so I have no real interest in Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh yeah, so what I was saying is that if anyone does decide that they want to play this, I would happily sit in, even if just the voice in your ear, not actually on camera, and be your coach and guide you through it. I love this game so much. I love seeing people experience it, and I would just I could just give you tips and tricks and kind of guide you if you want me to. I would be happy to do that for pretty much anyone because I love this game. Alright, there's a gold. Need 1 more gold. And there's a silver. Lead. I don't need lead. How much space do I got? Oh, I still got plenty. There's another gold. Alright. Now we can build the next part of the rocket. No, almost went the wrong way. Angry Canadian has it, and he's played it a bit. Sounds like he hasn't beaten it, but I definitely recommend it. Excellent game. It's one of those games that I wish I could wipe from my memory so I could play it again for the first time. The first time I beat it, I was like, at that point where I was like, I'm sad now, it's over. I wasn't ready for it to be over, and I want there to be more. So, alright, we can grab not enough room, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I need to build my batteries first. Yeah, so if I had time slowed down, it would take 10 times longer for it to fabricate those things. So that's why I don't do the time dilation console command. If you could turn this daytime speed down without affecting your fabrication speed, I would definitely do that. But you can't. Alright, I guess I can turn those pinned recipes off. Wait, where's my... Oh, that's right. I put it here in the chart. No? I have one. I thought I had another one. Did I put it in here? No. Oh. I guess I put a... that's probably because I put it in my Seamoth. So I guess I'll swap it out for a regular one. No! I didn't want to get in. I wanted to take the power cell out. Let's try this again. No, not enter Seamoth. Can I not grab my power cell? Does it have to be in the water to exchange it? Fine.
All systems online.
Alright, now I've got 2. Now I can go build the next part of my rocket. Shaka Zulu, hello. I've seen you in chats before, but not in my own, I don't think. Welcome. Glad you're here. So I'm just playing a little bit of Subnautica before my next open mics guest arrives in just a couple minutes. So we're going to build the Neptune fuel reserve. And then the last piece is the cockpit. guess I can turn off that pinned recipe. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Alright, need another plasteel ingot, a Cyclops shield generator, which I have in my Cyclops, but I'll have to go back down to the bottom of the world to get it. One enameled glass, and a microchip. That's not too bad. Shaka Zulu is on the pickle train? Oh, get out of here. I'm with Paul. Pickles are disgusting. They're a disgrace to nature, an abomination. They're gross. Just like Melee K. She's gross because she drinks pickle juice. Ugh. I almost hurled just watching her do it. Just... I guess the pickles is the new pineapple on pizza debate. I need a power cell to go back in my Seamoth. Yeah, same here, Paul. I almost hurled just watching her drink it. Shaka's. Oh no! Pickle juice is awesome. Get out of here with that. Ugh. That stuff smells nasty. Alright, what do I need? Do I have enough to make another plasteel ingot? Probably not. Do I even have any titanium? I do not. Alright, so I have the lithium though. Oh, I don't need it. I have perfect. I've got a titanium ingot and the lithium. So let's make a plasteel ingot. I think. Cool. All right. Well, I will continue this later. My other awesome guest just let me know that he's ready to go. So we're gonna save. That's probably gonna have to sync. No, I guess not. No. Dang it. There we go. I'll turn off my Xbox. I don't need that. All right, we'll go back to my camera. All right. Oh, and let me turn off my controller. There we go. Oh, that's not where it goes. It goes over here. I'll stand. All right. We'll quit and close that. All right. What else we got here? Oh, I can see the chat again. I just don't like pickles. Yes. Oh, good for you, dude. Whole pickle war happened because Culver's Ryan kindled my order. The Power Couches committed genocide on the pickles. There's lots of lore that you need to catch up on. Okay. All right. Forgive me if there's more technical difficulties, as this is doing this different than I normally do. But let me go off for a minute.
What is going on? Sounds good. Hello?
All right. Let me do that. I am back on screen, but we will get that fixed in just a second.
Paul's saying he only hears me.
Yeah, we'll get that.
Okay.
Okay. And then I want to turn that off and turn that back on. It should. There we go. And pop that out. Want to hide that. And grid view. There we go. All right. And the Discord. All right. Go ahead and say something for me.
Hello. How is everyone?
Yes. All right, I think we should be good. Let me know, you guys in chat, if you should be able to see and hear both of us.
I see both of us.
I believe. Yeah. So, Paul says I hear everything, and your Canadian says now both. So, yeah, excellent. Well, thank you for coming on. We see each other in chat all the time.
Yes.
Glad we could connect and talk about games, because that's I think you've been in my chat a few times, right?
Yeah, I love your Saturday show that you got going on. Like you put a good amount of preparation into your shows, and I that's one thing that keeps bringing me back. So
well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. Sorry, Paul. I know you're in the chat. I meant to get the topics for Party Chat to you for this Saturday, because Paul's going to be my guest host for this Saturday. I have not done that yet. So as soon as the stream is over, I'm going to get the rest of the topics figured out, and I'll get them sent over to you. So normally I have that figured out and sent by like Tuesday, but I've been a little busy this week. But yeah, thanks. So you're familiar with my channel. I do Party Chat on every other Saturday. I do my open mic where we just talk about, wherever the conversation goes, as long as it's video game related. So
yeah.
This is the first time I've had an open mic where I've had two guests. One of my first open mics, I had both Melee James and Kay on at the same time. This is the first time where I had one guest and then another one. So
okay.
You caught you might have missed the earlier part, but I had Devil Made Me Do It on for about an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah. I just finished up my show, and I do a Thursday show as well, and now I'm here.
Well, I'll have to check that out sometime. What's your Thursday show about?
So my Thursday show is called The Weekend Pregame. And
that's right. Okay.
We talk about more current event types things. Video games will come into the conversation. I have a panel full of nerds, so all sorts of stuff comes up from the pop culture side of things, but it's definitely more focused on kind of like political current events, kind of like, all the annoying stuff that we see online and everything. and we talk about that, and we talk about, just we have like weird conversations. Like one of the earliest shows was like we had a giant panel, and the topic of conversation is what is woke, because I think that word is terribly overused and is losing all sorts of meaning. And so, these kind of like, dare I say, philosophical conversations, because we're all idiots, but it can get interesting.
All right. Well, cool. Well, if that sounds interesting to you, go check out Static 2020's channel. Here, basically all we talk about is video games. My one solid rule is no politics.
Hey, that's fine.
I forgot to mention that. I keep forgetting to do that when I talk to people ahead of time. I do appreciate. I do appreciate keeping swearing to a minimum, but I know that's very difficult for some people. So I just say keep it to a minimum. Don't have to be none.
Did I swear?
No.
Okay.
You didn't. That's usually what I say when I send an invite to someone. But I just keep forgetting to do that. But for some people, they're like, I don't know if I can do no swearing. I'm like, all right, well, just try to keep it to a minimum. I appreciate any effort.
I will take this challenge.
But yeah,
I will take this challenge. I will try my best. It's been so long since I've had to watch my mouth, but I will take on this challenge.
I just appreciate the effort. But yeah, the one thing I don't want to do, even though I am very opinionated politically, but I don't want any of that on my channel. Just want to talk about video games.
No, that's wonderful.
That's what I love to do and love to talk about.
The last video I just did was like, hey, maybe we can finally get to a point where beer is just about beer and sports are just about sports, and video games could just be about video games, and we don't have to worry about all this other crap. So
I saw I think I mentioned it on a stream recently, but just last week I saw a tweet from one of the video game Twitter accounts that I follow and said something about something along the lines of like, wouldn't it just be a novel idea if video games just talked about video games? And I responded, that's all I do on my channel is just talk about video games.
Yeah, it would just be nice if the video game producers and devs could just talk about video games and not have to bring up all this other crap.
Yeah. So, we got Duke Devil talking some crap, saying that Static's Thursday show is crap. What's up, Duke Devil?
Duke, you're not on the show anymore.
I know I've seen him in a few streams, so thanks for joining. And dude says he wants to see Ryan on here. I'd be happy to have Ryan on. I'd happy to have pretty much anyone on as long as we just talk about video games. So, well, thank you for joining me tonight. Angry Canadian says, yeah, that's why I come here a lot. Just nothing but video game talk. So, but yeah, thanks for joining me. And I never really have a plan for open mic, which is why it's all open mic. We kind of just go wherever the conversation takes us. If you have anything video game related you want to talk about, let me know. If not, I usually just start off with like, give me a background on your gaming history. What's some of your favorite franchises? What have you been playing?
Yeah.
Anything you want to say about video games.
Well, so I'll go into a background. When I was like 3 or 4 years old, I had a neighbor who was a few years older than me, and he had the Atari with Pitfall and everything. And so I would go over to his house and play that.
It's one of the few Atari games I played was the original Pitfall.
So I would go and I'd play Atari at his house, and that was for, a year or so. And then we moved. And eventually, when I want to say like first grade, my parents, to my surprise, I didn't even know the thing existed. I got a Nintendo Entertainment System. And so I would play that. Obviously, it comes with Mario. And then eventually I got the Top Gun game. I never had the first.
I played that one.
Yeah, the Top Gun game was hard.
Yeah.
But I
never had an NES. My first console was the Super Nintendo, but I played NES at friends' houses. I played a lot of the NES classics, and I remember playing the Top Gun game. That thing was hard.
So yeah, I had the NES classic. I had like Bulls versus Blazers or something. I love basketball. I'm really tall. So and
okay.
I'm really tall and a product of the 90s. So Michael Jordan affected a lot of my life. And
I played basketball in middle and high school. So
okay. So there came a point though, like, and I was only allowed to play so much, right? Like my parents would all like, an hour a day or whatever.
Oh, with the games?
Even some school days, like I couldn't play it at all. But
that was always my punishment. The only thing I ever got punished was no more video games for X amount of time.
Yeah.
That was always my punishment.
It wouldn't even be a punishment. It would just be like, no, not today, for like no reason, just because they didn't want me to. And I was like, all right, whatever. I go outside like every other kid.
Go touch grass.
But so like when I'd be sick or something, my parents would leave me home alone and I'd play video games all day. And it got to the point where like, say like with basketball games, and I don't know if you ever played like the older basketball or football games or anything like that.
I used to play. We were talking sports games briefly earlier with Devil Made Me Do It. I don't play them anymore. I have zero interest in sports games, but I did have a baseball game on Super Nintendo.
Okay.
And I had NBA Live 99, I think, on N64.
Okay, so I don't know about those generations of consoles, but definitely in the Nintendo era, you could, like a football game, you could just find that one play. And you could just run that play every time and just hit the touchdown.
Never lose.
And then same with like with this basketball game I had, I knew exactly where to line up the pixels to get it so that they could never challenge my shot. The shot went in like 98% of the time. It was just like magic. And so I would do that playing against my dad, and then they gave away my Nintendo.
Oh no.
They're like, he's obviously spending too much time doing this. And so I just came home one day and it was gone. And it wasn't that big of a deal to me, but I was kind of curious. I was like, where'd this even come from? Like, why? Like, and I never got an answer for that. They just gave it to some friends, and like they were all my games. Like, I was like, yeah, because they want Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, that makes sense. But so I didn't have any other video game consoles until I bought my first one with my own money, which was actually the GameCube.
Okay, so you had a bit of a gap there where you didn't really do much gaming.
So I'd go over to the neighbors and they'd have the Super Nintendo or whatever. But Like I was into basketball, and then after basketball, I was into skateboarding, and then after skateboarding, I was into playing guitar. And then like I still do. Well, I don't skateboard anymore, but I still play guitar and stuff. But so when I started, I was staying with some friends, and they had a GameCube. They had all the systems, and I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to start with the GameCube because I liked Luigi's Haunted Mansion. This is
Dude says the almighty cube.
this is going to give me some
Yes.
heat, but I liked the Star Fox game that came out on that.
Oh, I was like, Star Fox Assault wasn't bad. You're probably talking about Star Fox Adventures,
Yes,
the dinosaur one.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Unfortunately,
I always wanted to play it, but I never did.
yeah, I wasn't so I played Ocarina of Time before I got the GameCube, and that had me fall in love with Zelda.
Yeah,
I did
Still
not
one of the greatest
like.
games of all
I was
time.
not a big fan of Wind Waker, and that's also more because
I was not either.
I don't like
If-
cel shading. Like Borderlands is really the only game that I've liked that
I wasn't a huge fan.
I
of
like that
Borderlands
kind
either.
of style. But
I know
like,
Kay's not here because they're streaming right now too. But yeah, suck it, Kay, because Kay and I have that was like our first beef was Wind Waker. I don't hate Wind Waker, it's just not in my top echelon of Zelda games. And I think that's her all-time favorite.
yeah, definitely. Like, I don't know. Like, so like I love Breath of the Wild. I love Tears of the Kingdom. I've got the Switch. But so after the GameCube, I played a bunch of games on the GameCube. Like all that was back when they were coming out with all the Resident Evils on the Cube. And so
Yeah.
I played all of those, and I was like, all right, I'm kind of done with this. So I traded it in for the PlayStation 2. And then I ended up like, that generation lasted forever. And I probably ended up having to buy like 3 different PlayStation 2s throughout that whole period. A lot of like NBA Live and stuff from back then. Gun was one of my favorite games.
Okay, I never played that one, but I remember it.
And then
That was a 360 launch title, if I remember correctly.
I think you might be right. But it was on PlayStation 2, and I think it was on Xbox One as well. Gun.
Yeah, I didn't
then,
follow that franchise, but I think that was a pretty underrated one. Like not a lot
Yeah.
of people played it, but the people that played it
got
said it was pretty
completely
good
overshadowed by Red Dead Redemption. I want to say they might have came out around the same time.
around the same time.
But yeah, I loved Gun. Max Payne. Oh my God, Max Payne was a great game. And then Grand Theft Auto. I didn't care so much for San Andreas. I know a lot of people love San Andreas, but I thought Vice City with like the whole Miami thing and all that going on. I thought I think that's my favorite Grand Theft Auto to this day.
I'm not a huge fan of basically any Rockstar, because Rockstar I think is like one of the most overrated devs. I think their games are pretty boring.
Fair enough. The only reason,
Not bad, just I don't care for them.
well, back in like with Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City, you'd never seen anything like that before, I don't think, as far as those games.
Yeah, it was like one of the first real open world games for sure.
And Grand Theft Auto 3 was such like a, what do you call it? Like a groundbreaking in the whole open world and like just like this chaotic game. And then also the cool thing was like that was one of the first games in a long time to reintroduce cheat codes.
Yeah, that was something that has since become like a lost thing in games. I miss those. Duke Devil said that the first Max Payne was great, except for the parts where you had to walk in like a dream sequence on a balance beam. I didn't play Max Payne, but I've seen that mentioned on many lists about great games with terrible mechanics.
Is he talking about like that where you had to like walk down like that blood trail or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a pain in the ass.
I've heard of how bad those segments were.
Another favorite game of mine from back in the day is Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Okay, I've heard nothing but good things about that one, but I never played that one either.
I
was a big fan of Rare, so I'm surprised I never did, because I freaking loved GoldenEye and Perfect Dark and Jet Force Gemini and Donkey Kong, but I never played any Conker's games.
Razorfist recently did a playthrough on his channel, and it still holds up to this day. If you like fart jokes, right? Like if that's your thing, if you're into fart jokes, go play.
I may have to add it to my backlog then.
Yeah, go. Good luck finding it. Last time I looked up, which was a while ago, maybe 10, 12 years ago, it was going for $80. I'm sure that's only gone up since.
Oh, if you're looking for like the cartridge
Buy
or
like the
something,
cartridge, yeah, for
'cause
the 64.
it's on Rare Replay, which is part of Game Pass. So
Oh, okay. Oh, the original or one of the newer ones? Because
that is a good question. I don't know. I'd have to look into that.
I only like the original. Conker's Bad Fur Day, the original one. The other ones where they've like introduced multiplayer and stuff, I was just they weren't as good.
Because I know one was called Live and Reloaded, so
yeah.
I assume they're all on Rare Replay, but I don't know. I've never really paid that close attention to the Conker's franchise.
So back in the day, we used to be able to do this thing where you'd go into the store and rent games, and they'd let you borrow them for a few days, and you had to bring them back, otherwise they charged more money.
You speak of.
Yeah, and
renting.
Like, yeah, like Game Crazy was a store that I went to.
That was
all
my
the
place.
time.
I lived at Game Crazy.
Yep, dude, those places were so cool because like they'd have like tournaments and stuff. You don't have that. Well, you know what? That's not true. The mom and pop shop, at least where I live, has been coming back around, and they've been doing tournaments and stuff. But that was definitely something that went missing for like a good, I don't know, almost 20 years it seems. Because I was very early into my adulthood when Blockbuster and Game Crazy and all those places were just gone.
Yeah, I miss Game Crazy. I love that place.
Game Crazy was so fun, and then like you could get that subscription where you could just rent games. You give them, it was like $10 a month, and you just rent games. You walk in and out of the store, like no big deal. Kind of like what Game Pass is now. I guess you just had to go there and get it though.
Yeah. It's the physical version of Game Pass. Yeah. And Dude is saying that the proper Conker's Bad Fur Day, the N64 version, is the one that's on Rare Replay.
Oh, nice. So nice. I have not heard of this Rare Replay, so I'm gonna put that.
Yeah, it's got like all those old Rare games all in one giant collection, and it's on. You can buy that separately, but it being that it's Rare and Microsoft owns Rare, it's part of.
It's probably only Xbox and not PC, huh?
Given that it's essentially, it's not technically first party, but it's essentially first party, I would think that it would be PC, but I don't know for certain.
I just look it up. But so like, yeah, I've been all over. I skipped the PlayStation 3, Xbox One generation because, or whatever was the PlayStation 3 and the 360. Maybe.
Yeah,
I skipped that generation because I focused on my career.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. I was focused on my career, and then when I got into software, I went and bought myself a PlayStation 4. I had finally achieved the position I wanted, and I got the pay raise and everything, and I was like, I'm gonna go buy a PlayStation 4.
Nice.
And so I got a PlayStation 4, and then my son gave me a gift for the first time ever. He was about 13, 14 years old. He gave me a birthday gift, and it was Witcher 3.
Oh.
And so I got, this was also like a year or two after it had came out. So everything had been fixed.
All been fixed.
I didn't have to go through the pain that supposedly everyone else had to go through.
Yeah, supposedly it launched in a bad state, but
yeah,
I didn't know about Witcher until a few years after it had been out.
And Witcher 3 is, to this day, probably still my favorite video game.
That's a good pick. I know it's a lot of people's favorite game. It is in my backlog. I haven't gotten to it yet because it is such a gigantic time sink of a game, but I'm looking forward to getting to it.
Especially with all the DLC and everything. I don't know how many. I don't know how many hours I have in it anymore because I don't have my PlayStation anymore. I went PC 2 years ago. Straight PC now for 2 years. But Witcher 3 is one of my favorite all-time games. Elden Ring was another game that changed my life. Like I had played Souls games before. Like Bloodborne was free on the PlayStation 4, right? Like it came out in their little package a long time ago. And so I picked it up and I played it for about an hour and I said, fuck this. Oh, I swore. Sorry, ding. So I was like, forget this. I'm not playing this. I don't have time for this. I just want to play a game, right? And then I caught the Elden Ring trailer. I was like, this looks gorgeous. And I didn't really know anything about From Software, right? I was like, I just want to play this game. And so I got it. And then obviously as like I'm figuring out this game. I'm like, oh, so this is a game based off of these other games that I didn't really like, but I want to play this. I want to play this, and like that whole like I suck at Soulsborne games. Like I'm terrible, right? I'm an older person. I just turned 40. These games are not meant for me, but I can't stop playing them.
Love Elden Ring.
I've been playing Lies of P.
I've heard that's very good.
I
Mark's
love
been
Lies of
praising
P.
it a lot.
Yeah, Lies of P is amazing. I've been playing right now. I'm playing Lords of the Fallen, which is not as good. It's a little.
I just mentioned that earlier with Devil because I was talking about they need to stop with this trend of calling a new game the same exact name as a previous game.
Right. And from what I understand, though, is I don't think so. I think it's based off of that game, but like they completely switched up the gameplay and everything. I haven't looked. I think it was 2014 was when the original one came out.
I don't know anything about the game other than what I said earlier was that like people have been talking about Lords of the Fallen a bunch lately. I'm like, why are you talking about like a 5+ year old game? It's like, oh, they're releasing another one with the exact same name. It's like, can you stop with that already?
It just came out a couple weeks ago. I've been playing that. I'm already at like 50 hours in it. But like I said,
my good buddy in real life, he was telling me about it. He says it's pretty good.
So it's not as good as Lies of P from a Souls type perspective. They definitely throw like way more enemies, and they're not like unique. They're more there's just a crap ton of these enemies, and it's more of a chore to get through than an actual challenge. It's annoying than it is frustrating. I since playing Elden Ring, I went back and played some. I played Dark Souls. I think I played.
I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Given that you hadn't played Dark Souls and you love an Elden Ring, did it give you the bug to play some of the Souls games?
Yeah, I never finished them because I have like gamer ADD.
ADD.
Like the shiny.
I have the opposite of that. I can't stop because I'm a completionist.
Okay.
So it's like I can't stop until I get everything. If I know I can do it. If it's something that's so impossible, I know I'll never be able to do it. Be like, screw that. But if it's something like, oh no, I know I can do that, I'll keep at it until I get it.
So you see, Spider-Man on PlayStation 4. That game, I was like, you know what? I could platinum this. I could so platinum this. You know, I beat it and everything. I was like, all these trophies are so easy. I can go and get all of these, right? Finally do that for once. I don't remember what came up, but something came across my vision. I was like, oh, I'm out.
Ooh,
over
shiny.
Here. Like, yeah.
Ooh,
I'm absolutely terrible about it, but I go back. I look like I'm gonna go back to Elden Ring here soon enough, even though I've beat that and I've played it a bunch of times. I love. So one thing that a lot of people don't like is like new games are kind of crap. You hear that a lot, right?
Yeah.
But there's so much great old stuff.
There's so much good.
Yeah, I started
that too. I mean, there's good new stuff if you know where to look, but yeah, there's tons of good old stuff
like
too.
Lies of P is a great. If you're into that kind of game, Lies of P is a great game. Another great game that just came out that I absolutely love is Party Animals.
Oh, I haven't played it yet, but it looks like it's
Party
fun.
Animals is so much fun. Now, granted, it's one of those games where it's only fun with friends.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Like that's a blast. If you got people you're playing that with, you're gonna have a great time. And it's such a the physics and everything that they put into that game, it's so great. You're like just a bunch of drunk sock puppet animal type things. And whoever thought of that is absolutely brilliant. And I think they knew exactly what they were bringing to market.
I have played basically it's like a spiritual successor called Gang Beasts. It's a very similar game. But I've never played it against people. I played it against bots, but that was pretty fun. But yeah, Party Animals looks like it'd be a lot of fun to play with an actual like friend group of people.
I was playing it. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that dude is answering all the burning questions, saying that the Rare Replay has 30 games from Rare's past, but it is only on Xbox One.
Okay, yeah.
And everyone's saying how great the Witcher series is. And 20, I'm just saying everyone's saying how good the Witcher series is. I know they're remaking 1 because that was PC only, but 2 is great as well, which is, I have. But I'm going to be doing that one before I play Witcher 3.
I'm very curious what the remake of 1 is going to be like because I've played 1. I haven't finished 2, but I beat 1, which is it's a really short game. But there's definitely some things you collect in the first Witcher that are frowned upon.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The cards that you collect. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets removed. But yeah, Duke Devil saying 20 years later he still plays KOTOR. Good man, excellent game. That KOTOR literally comes up on pretty much every stream.
Yeah, I just started a list of games that I haven't played or that I need to go back and play. And KOTOR, I played that forever ago, and that was actually the first turn-based. I hated turn-based until I
Me
played
too.
KOTOR. Until I played KOTOR, I was like, okay, I can do this now. Like
because until I played KOTOR, to me, RPGs, the only thing I knew RPGs were turn-based combat and JRPGs, which I had zero interest in. So the fact that KOTOR was, I call it pseudo turn-based because it's not exactly turn-based. It is, but It isn't. So I was like, okay, I'll give this a shot. And I like the game. It's definitely an excellent game. It's not my top favorite Star Wars game of all time, like it is for many, because I don't care for the gameplay in the game that much, but it definitely is a good game. And I'm looking forward to playing through it again because I haven't played it through since it was new. But yeah, dude was saying, as a completionist, Elden Ring was kind of annoying since it had achievements for 4 of the endings, had to save scum in a convoluted way. Oh, probably using the cloud save method. I know exactly what you're talking about to get them all in one playthrough. I've had to do that for other games as well. And Shaka Zulu says, yeah, Party Animals is very much like Gang Beasts. Shaka Zulu says, yes, I'm assuming he's talking about Witcher. Play them in order is great. So if the Witcher remake comes out on Xbox before I get to playing Witcher 2, I very well may add that to the backlog and play through the whole trilogy in order, which it very likely will because I don't see myself getting to those games for a very long time because I have a massive backlog.
Sorry, my son's messaging for some random reason.
No worries. All that.
For some reason, he always waits until the end of the night.
Vamp. So, so I have Dark Souls Remastered. I've started. I basically got through the Asylum Demon to get the first achievement, which in the Xbox community, that's known as diving a game. So I've dived, or dove, whatever you want to call it, Dark Souls Remastered. That's the only Dark Souls or Soulsborne game I've played. The only From Software game I've played through in its entirety is pretty much before From Software was known as a big name developer. Core. No.
Okay.
A very often forgotten game that not a lot of people even realize, may not even know is From Software. I just remember seeing when it the launch or the splash screen said From Software. I'm like, what kind of name is that? But was Ninja Blade. Do you even know of Ninja Blade?
No.
See, you aren't even familiar with the name of the game. So one of my top favorite games of all time is Ninja Gaiden Black and Ninja Gaiden 2.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of hack and slash games. And this was another ninja hack and slash game from another developer. So I was like, and it looked awesome. So I gave it a shot and I really liked it. It didn't score very well. I think it only got around the 6s.
I was going to say,
but
I just did a quick Google search on it.
Google of it.
And one of the first results is a YouTube video that says From Software's worst game.
It's not a bad game. I really enjoyed it. And it's nowhere near as difficult as their other games from what I've heard. I haven't really played any of them. But at least coming from a Ninja Gaiden player, it was way easier than Ninja Gaiden. But it was really fun. The biggest gripe I could see a lot of people having with it is chock full of QTEs. But I'm not a huge hater of QTEs, but I really like the QTEs in this game because they are so ridiculously over the top. They're fantastic.
Okay.
So you use basically once you beat a boss, you go into this really nutso ridiculous QTE as basically the finisher, and they're just insane. Like in the first level alone, use your QTEs to ride rockets into enemies. Like a helicopter shoots missiles at you, you dodge them, then you ride the rockets and steer them into enemies. And then at the end of the first level, when you beat the first boss, there's one of those, giant wrecking ball. And, he's just a regular sized guy, but he's like Super Saiyan or something. So he like hits it and it spins all the way around. and then you cut the chain so the ball goes flying, and you use it to crush the boss. So the QTEs are just ridiculously over the top, and it's so much fun. I really enjoyed that game, but it's an often forgot From Software game, and the only From Software game I've played through in its entirety. And it's on my back. Unfortunately, it's not backwards compatible, so I do have to bust out my 360 to play it, which I do bust out. I do keep it hooked up for my non-backwards compatible games. But anytime it's not backwards compatible, that knocks it down on my list of to go back and play, because it's much less convenient than playing on a modern Xbox.
So they didn't. Is it? Did they emulate the 360 yet?
You mean like on PC?
Yeah. I haven't looked.
Probably.
I haven't looked.
The last emulator I used was Dolphin to play some GameCube games.
Yeah.
I couldn't find my discs, so I was like, I found my discs since, but as basically I couldn't find my Metroid Prime 1 and 2 discs, so I used Dolphin to play Metroid Prime 1 and 2 again.
Metroid Prime or some other games. I love the Metroid Prime games.
So Metroidvania is my genre of specialty.
Okay.
So I'm very knowledgeable on the entire genre of Metroidvanias, and Metroid Primes are some of my favorites.
So did you do Hollow Knight?
I have not played through, and I've given it a shot like 3 or 4 times. I've probably put about 8 to 10 hours into it, and I'm not a fan of what I've played through so far.
I have not come even close to maybe even getting halfway with that game, but it's a gorgeous game.
It's a good game. It's got good music. But I'm not a fan of it. Every time I'm like, I have to basically like force myself to play it. I will play through it in its entirety at some point. Especially with how everyone in the Metroidvania community considers it like the best. I'm just not a fan of it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, in Metroidvania community, if you're talking about top tier Metroidvania games, the ones that get often mentioned the most often are Super Metroid, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and Hollow Knight.
Okay.
I am not a huge fan of it, though. It's not a bad game. It's just there's just so many things against it that just rub me the wrong way. My single favorite Metroidvania of all time is Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
I've heard of that.
Fantastic. I put that over Hollow Knight by 10 levels. It just does, in my opinion, it does everything that drives me nuts about Hollow Knight. It does them correctly.
That's another gorgeous game.
But definitely play both Hollow Knights, Ori games. They're both fantastic. It's just the second one, in my opinion, is just like Ori and the Blind Forest is the first one, is like, top level game, and then Ori and the Will of the Wisp, the sequel, one ups it. So they're both great games.
Is it also the side scroller, or is it?
Yeah, they're 2D side scrollers.
Okay.
And the art and the music is just pristine. It's a very beautifully gorgeous game. Wonderful music. When I had, who was it? I think it was when I had Angry Canadian on, because he's big into video game music. I don't really pay attention to video game music that much, but Ori and the Ori games are one of the only games ever that I've gone outside of the game and like pulled up the soundtrack somewhere just to listen to the game's music. That's how good it was. And the movement and the combat are like liquid butter smooth.
Now that you say that, so like I'm really curious with the music side. When you finally get around to Witcher 3, if you're into that kind of stuff, if that's something that you do there too, because like I never obviously everyone knows real famous video game music, but like the Witcher 3, that stuff just gets stuck into your head. And it's like that old school, that old school European music with all the woodwinds and strings and all of that stuff. The disc my son actually gave me came with the soundtrack to The Witcher 3.
Cool.
And that was the first time I'd ever listened to a video game soundtrack.
Shaka was saying, dude, music in video games is the best. Yeah, because I've had a few people on, not just Angry Canadian, he's big into video game music, but I've had a few other people on as well that are big into video game music. Nerdporial's into it, pretty into video game music too. It's like, all right, I'm gonna start paying more attention to it. The only other game series that I really love the music to is my favorite SNES series of games is the Mega Man X trilogy, the X 1, 2, and 3.
Uh-huh.
Music is fantastic. I freaking love that stuff.
I can't play Mega Man games for anything. I am so bad. Like
Mega
been a
Man is
while,
one of my
but
is up there with my top franchises. I love
I
the
get
Mega
it.
Man
I get it.
franchise.
I should maybe.
That was my very first stream on my channel. It was me and DJ Axis and Gino. We talked about just nothing but the entire Mega Man franchise for a couple hours. Oh, yes, and of course, as Jerry Crow points out, Halo
yeah,
has a
the Halo.
fantastic soundtrack as well.
I will sing that opening song. That like I'll just bust out with that randomly while working or something.
Yeah. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Get your blood flowing. So that's another one. Yes. Yeah. I actually responded just to a Twitter post today. It was asking about what's the, like, I don't know if it was most iconic video game music or what's your favorite or what's the most nostalgia video game music, something along those lines. And I replied with the Halo theme song just today, or it might have been yesterday, but yeah, definitely excellent music. I haven't listened to the soundtrack, but there were a lot of really good songs on the Halo 2 soundtrack. I don't know if I listened to the entire thing. But,
I erased Halo 2 from my mind. Halo 2 upset me greatly with that.
Okay, I was just talking to Dude about it because we were or not Dude, Devil Made Me Do It earlier tonight. We were talking about Halo, and I didn't hate Halo 2. I just wasn't a huge fan of Halo 2. Me and all my buddies were huge in Halo 1. We got Halo 2, played it for a few weeks, and went back to playing Halo 1 because we liked it better.
Yep, I played the crap out of Halo 1. So many hours on the co-op and multiplayer, and like the LAN part. That was the origin of the
LAN parties was the best.
So much time on that. And then I played Halo 2, and it was okay. And then it really crapped the bed with the ending. I was like,
yes,
no.
I know that they had, they were like, no, you have to put it was like they were planning on putting it out like the next November. And I think Bungie or investors or something was like, no, it needs to be out this November. So they didn't have enough time to finish it. So that's why we got such a crappy ending.
I haven't played Halo 3 to this day.
Oh, because Halo 3 is my favorite Halo.
Yeah, I've heard great things, and I've heard great things, and I maybe I'll get to it someday. But after Halo 2, I was just like, all right, well, this was just a giant tease, and screw you guys.
Fair enough. And Angry Canadian says Halo is in his top 5 series of video game music. And Jerry says that Civ 6 has banging music. I've never played a Civ game because I don't really do strategy
Same here.
As we were saying earlier, turn-based games. So I've never had any interest in Civ, but I know that's a popular franchise.
I know Angry Canadian says Halo 3 finishes the story. I know, but they ticked me off so much by just making it such like a cliffhanger thing, and it's just like really, it really built to nothing in Halo 2. I was like, this got me nowhere, and yeah, I was so upset because after Halo 1, right? So like everyone beats Halo 1. It's like, are we going to get a second one? Is there going to be a second one? Because back then, the follow-up, the sequel was not guaranteed at all. Like you never knew if you were going to get another.
Yeah, there was quite the development hell for Halo 2 because originally it was going to be an RTS on the Apple. If you didn't know that, it was going to be an RTS on the Apple, and they turned it into a first-person shooter, and it became a launch title for the original Xbox.
Okay. But yeah, I like, and then as I'm going through Halo 2, I'm like, this is just going into the third one. I just had this feeling. I was like, I'm going to be left with a crappy ending, and they're just building to the third one, which is going to be this epic thing. And it just felt like that's all. It was just a placeholder until they could finally make the game they really wanted to make.
Yeah. So, Master Chief, what are you doing? Finishing this fight. End scene.
Yeah.
What? That's not finishing the fight. What are you talking about? So yeah, I'm totally there with you. And Angry Canadian says it wasn't Bungie's fault. So I don't know whose fault it is, but apparently it wasn't Bungie's. And Dabzilla, hey, you were in one of my streams recently. Hello, Dabzilla, saying that Deep Rock Galactic has great music. I have not played it, so I don't know.
I have been hearing great things about Deep Rock Galactic for years at this point. I
didn't even know it'd been around that long. I only heard about it for the first time probably about 6 months ago.
Yeah, I had an old buddy of mine that was trying to get me to play it like 4 or 5 years ago, I want to say.
Huh. Interesting. It's one of those games where it comes out and then doesn't become popular for like years later. I think Among Us was a similar thing. It had been around for a long time, but then all of a sudden it exploded. And then everyone was playing it.
I never played Among Us.
Yeah, me neither. Angry Canadian says Microsoft was forcing them to publish Halo 2 early. That definitely makes sense.
Doesn't surprise me. Software management is garbage. Yeah.
And then Duke Devil says, this will probably date me, but in college, me and my buddy would play the hell out of Wing Commander. Yeah, that's a pretty old one. I've never played that one. That's I think well before I existed.
Was that one of those arcade airplane?
Yeah, that's the one that had the movie to go along with it, right? With Freddie Prinze Jr., I think.
Dude, that movie would have came out well after this game.
Yeah, it was. The movie was tied into the game, but I don't think they launched anywhere near the same time.
I don't recognize.
But yeah, I know.
I was thinking it was one of those like shooters like 1942, but that's not what I'm saying. You're like actually in like the cockpit.
Yeah, not a top-down shoot 'em up. But yeah, I know that game definitely has some significance in the video game industry for sure. Mark Hamill played the main character in Wing Commander 3. You know what? I just heard someone say that recently in a stream. I was like, I did not know that. But I did not realize that he had voiced so much stuff because, after the original Star Wars trilogy, he didn't really see him do anything for years. Until someone's like, oh yeah, he also is the voice of the Joker in the Batman animated series. I was like, what? No. And I looked it up and I was like, holy crap, he did. And then when I went and looked him up, I'm like, oh my God, he has a huge voice acting resume. I mean, that was a long time ago now.
Yeah.
But I was blown away by how much voice acting he had done in the interim of being Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I remember the first time I heard that, and then I sat there and I thought about it, and I was like, I can hear it now. I was like, okay. Interesting.
If I hadn't ever seen him, videos of him do the Joker voice, I still wouldn't believe it was him.
Yeah, I would have had no clue unless someone told me. It's not something I would have went and looked up. I would have just been like, yeah, it's just the Joker.
Yeah, like there are other popular voice actors that I'm like, wait a minute, I know that voice. I'm like,
yeah,
that's who it is. Like one of my favorites is Jennifer Hale. Are you familiar with Jennifer Hale?
No.
So she is she's kind of like the female Mark Hamill because she voices in like her voice is everywhere. Probably her most well-known thing though is being female Shepard in Mass Effect. But she's done a lot of stuff. Probably her, Laura Bailey, and Tara Strong are probably some of the most well-known female voice actors that are in you'll find them in everything.
I've heard of Tara Strong due to recent events.
Yeah, due to recent events, yep, that makes sense. But yeah, just recently because it left Game Pass, I panic played. Oh shoot, what was it called? The rhythm first person shooter. Oh my goodness, I just played it not that long ago and I can't even remember what it's called.
The rhythm first person, the Hellslinger or whatever it's called.
Metal Hellsinger. Thank you. Yes, I played that one, and there's only 2 voice characters in the game, and one of them, there's a bunch of filters on the voice, but I'm like, God, that sounds a lot like Jennifer Hale, and I looked it up, and it was. I'm like, nailed it. I'm good. I'm pretty good at placing voices. The other voice in the game is one of the other biggest names in voice acting, and I did not recognize it because he is crazy range. Is Troy Baker. He's in literally everything. He's we were talking about Last of Us earlier. He's the voice of Joel in Last of Us is one of his most well-known things, but he's done a ton of voice work too. But I don't know his voice as well, so I didn't place it when I heard it.
He's done Batman?
Yeah, he did Batman in Arkham Origins because Kevin Conroy was not Batman. Or wait, no. I know Kevin... Wait, no, I might be getting that mixed up.
He did it in a Batman Lego movie, Lego DC Batman Family Matters, and the Batman the movie, that was Lego Batman the movie.
Because is it Joker that I'm getting mixed up? Troy Baker, that's the other big name. He's in literally everything. He did the Joker instead of Mark Hamill. But I swear,
Oh, maybe he was doing the Joker in these ones.
where is Batman in Batman? My goodness, he should be the first name on this list. Another one is Steve Blum. He's in.
Apparently, Troy Baker has a credit for being the bitter squirrel in God of War Ragnarok. I haven't played that game, so I don't know what that means, but that's amusing.
But I swear that both Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy were not in Arkham Origins. It's ridiculous how Batman's not at the top of the list.
Oh, Duke Devil saying
IMDb.
Jennifer Hale was Bastila in KOTOR.
That's right. She was also Bastila and KOTOR. No, that's probably why she was FemShep, because they're both BioWare. Yeah. Okay. So no, I was wrong. It wasn't. Troy Baker was not. Troy Baker was Joker, not Batman in Arkham Origins. Some Roger Craig Smith, who I have not even heard of that person before, was Batman in Arkham Origins. So I was just getting the characters mixed up, but I was on the right track. So, yeah. Anyways,
all right, you got me to add Ori to my list of games to check out.
Yes.
That game,
oh yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to the chat, so sorry. But yeah, Rocker Dude copped in there saying Metal Hellsinger. Yes, that is correct. Let's see here. Mark Hamill's the voice. Oh yeah, that's where we started on the voice actor thing. And Dubzilla saying he voiced so many things. Love his work. I'm assuming that was about Mark Hamill. Gina Carano. Yeah, Gina Carano was in Command and Conquer 3 Red Alert. That's right. You can't complete it anymore since the servers went down. Yeah, he's a completionist as well as am I. We're starting a new show tomorrow with our first episode. We're going to be talking about achievements, and he mentioned something earlier about a game, but unfortunately I can't scroll back through it right now to look. But he was saying that some game the servers got shut down, so you can't complete it anymore because of the PvP. I think it was Uncharted. Sorry, I meant to mention that when I saw it, but I'm having trouble with my chat, so I can't scroll back and see it. Jennifer Hale, yeah, was Bastila and KOTOR. Yeah, Troy Baker is a fantastic voice actor. Oh, Ziggy Smash, I've not seen you before. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for Open Mic, where we just talk about video games. But yeah, Troy Baker is a fantastic voice actor. He's literally everywhere, just like Mark Hamill. But yeah, so what have you been playing lately? Oh, dude was saying about Uncharted. That's what it was. Uncharted 2 and 3 and Blops 2 you can't complete anymore because the online has been shut down. But yeah, what you have any time to game?
So yeah, I was saying, I am at just shy of 60 hours on Lords of the Fallen.
That's right. Okay.
I have 2 characters in it right now that I'm kind of playing them simultaneously. I've got just your basic knight, and then I always love doing a paladin, and I'll stream the paladin playthrough when I have time to do that. Otherwise I just play the knight one offline. That's pretty much been the main focus of my gameplay for the last 2 weeks. Before that was Lies of P, but back then I didn't have a whole lot of time to play as much as I would have liked to, so that one's still sitting on the back burner. But I'll go they're coming out with some updates and stuff for that, and I'm definitely going to go back to that. And they also announced the sequel to Lies of P is coming.
Oh, already? Wow, yeah. That was fast. Yeah, the game only came out not even a month ago.
Not only did the game come out on Game Pass, but they've also I don't know if they sold 1 million copies or if they sold 1 million. They've grossed $1 million. It's one of the two.
Okay,
but either way,
1 million is in there somewhere.
Either way, considering that it's on Game Pass as well, it's doing pretty well.
Yeah,
especially for a shop that I don't know if I don't know if they did anything before that.
Oh, the developer?
Yeah, at least nothing that they were known for. I can't think of what the developer's name is, and I don't want to open up the Xbox app to look at it.
Let's see here. Developed by Neowitz and Round 8 Studios, which I've never heard of either of them. Yeah, that's nothing. Yeah, I'm not. There's one other game on each of them. One's DJ Max Respect 5 and Bless Unleashed, which I've never heard of either of those. So yeah, basically an unknown, and they come out of the gates swinging. Oh, okay. It's been out for a little bit longer than I thought. September 18th. But yeah, very recent game. And yeah, I've been hearing nothing but good things about it from people who are Soulsborne fans. Oh, yeah, speaking of Soulsborne, one thing I was going to ask you, because I believe it got announced, or maybe it got a release date, or maybe the release date hasn't been announced yet, but I believe it's called Shadow of the Erd Tree is the DLC for Elden Ring.
I've been seeing things about that. I don't know if it's been released. It's okay. So we've got something from Gamer
I don't
here
think it's been
14
released.
hours ago. From Software is developing DLC for Elden Ring. I don't know if there's actually a release date. I hate when you go to search for a release date on anything anymore. They like hide it in the article, so you can't just get the information. They're like, no, you have to scroll and load all the ads.
Yeah. That's her release date. Sometime it's 2024, so no release date yet. But I'm sure you'll be happy to go back to it and play more for when that comes out.
I will definitely go back and play more. Actually, after with playing Lords of the Fallen, it makes me want to go play Elden Ring. But like I said, I have a list. So I've never played Mass Effect, any of the Mass Effect games.
Oh, that was one thing I was going to mention when Devil was on earlier. Because Mass Effect is I did mention this because Mass Effect is my single favorite video game franchise of all time. But I'm looking forward, because I haven't played through the Legendary Edition yet, so I'm looking forward to playing through the Legendary Edition and going through the whole franchise, or the whole trilogy again, because I freaking love it.
Yeah, so those are the first on my list, and then like everything else after that is kind of just whatever. Like I've never played Skyrim really. So my first Bethesda experience was Starfield, and it was just because I had I had Game Pass.
I haven't played it yet, but I will at some point eventually.
I found it lifeless. Like it just seemed, and this was my first real Bethesda experience. I think I've played like older Bethesda games, but nothing that was like a big one of their big brands,
Tentpole
right? I've
franchises.
never played Fallout. Never really played Elder Scrolls. I did play Elder Scrolls Online, but I was playing by myself, and that kind of sucked. I was just like, all right, whatever. Yeah. I got it for what, $20 at a GameStop one day when I was just bored.
Yeah, Oblivion was my first real full-fledged RPG. I've mentioned it a few times, and before I get into that, Shaka Zulu says, "Oh man, you'll love Mass Effect." So I'm excited for you to play that.
Yeah,
at some point.
I'm gonna check out Mass Effect. I might just have to go and get that when I finish Lords of the Fallen, because I'm going to finish Lords of the Fallen, even though it is a pain in my arse.
So Mass Effect, is published by EA. So the Legendary Edition is on Game Pass Ultimate if you have the Ultimate tier of Game Pass.
No, I think that's only. I don't know if Game Pass Ultimate is available on PC.
That's a good question. I don't know. I haven't really paid a terrible lot of attention to the PC side, because I haven't had a PC that could play games up until very, very recently, like within the last month.
Really, the old man's going to give me hell for what game I haven't played? Duke Devil? Really?
You've never played Mass Effect? But Shakazu says Oblivion is the best. So, one day after work, I went to Game Crazy, as I did at the time. I'd just go to Game Crazy, just at the drop of a hat. And I was like, I want a big game that's going to take me a really long time to play. And the dude's like, here's Oblivion. And that's all she wrote. Fell in love with Elder Scrolls and the Oblivion and RPGs.
That changed your life, yeah.
Yeah, so because, like I said earlier, to me, RPGs up until that point were, turn-based RPGs, which I didn't have any interest in. So I played this and fell in love. Like, this I can get into.
What about Diablo 2?
I would definitely not have a problem with playing Diablo games. I just never got into them.
Okay.
I almost got into Diablo 3 when it not long after it came out, because one of my good buddies in real life was a big fan of the Diablo franchise, and his friend he said that he was gonna stop playing it. I don't know what the reason was, but he's like, I'll sell you my copy. But then he changed his mind and he didn't sell it to me, so I never actually ended up playing a Diablo game. So I don't have anything against Diablo, especially that it is, the big thing for me is real-time combat versus turn-based.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I would have liked the Diablo games if I had gotten into them. I just never did.
Yeah, my brother introduced me to Diablo 2. And because of Diablo 2, I knew to skip World of Warcraft because Diablo 2 was the first game I ever no-lifed. Like, I just plugged into that so hard. And I knew, like, I was like, no, I got to stay away from World of Warcraft because it's kind of the same stuff. I like, nope. So I never did WoW, but I love Diablo 2.
Nice.
I did not play the remaster or whatever the hell it was that they came out with. A year ago now?
For Diablo 2?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I played a little bit of Diablo 3. Kind of bored. I never beat it. I just got
Did you
bored.
do any Diablo 4?
I did the beta.
Okay.
I have issues giving certain companies money, and Blizzard has become one of those. But I was like, free beta, sure, I'll check this out. And it seemed cool. I was like, yeah, this seems all right. But from what I understand, the player base has just completely dropped off.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, I haven't followed it, but that's what I've heard. But yeah, Duke Devil saying that seriously. KOTOR and Mass Effect 1 are two of my favorite games. I'm curious. I gotta get Duke Devil on sometime so we can talk about KOTOR and Mass Effect, because Mass Effect 3 is my favorite of the franchise and my single favorite game of all time.
Okay.
I love the whole franchise, but 3 is my favorite, and he didn't even mention it. Kind of like Halo 2, it fumbled at the 1 yard line, as someone I had on said, and I've adopted that because that's very accurate. It's always been what I've said. It's they really butchered the ending, and so when it came out, it got hell, and everyone said, "Oh, it's a terrible, crappy game." But no, the game itself is fantastic, amazing game. It's just the last 15-20 minutes, the very ending, is not great. But if you can look past that, it's an excellent game. So a lot of people have come around on that, and since, given that it was 11 years ago, came out in 2012. But for a long time, people would refuse to believe that Mass Effect 3 was a good game just because it had a bad ending.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to check those out. I keep hearing about them. I was told just go ahead and play the remake of Mass Effect 1.
Go through the Legendary Edition. They do a lot of quality of life improvements for Mass Effect 1 because that's the one that needed it the most. Because there was so much backlash to the ending of Mass Effect 3, they actually released what was called the Extended Cut, which changed the ending to try and alleviate some of the backlash, and that has since become the you can't play the original ending in the Legendary Edition. The only way you can go back and play the original ending is to play it on like a PS3 or PS4 and not update the game. Otherwise, you'll get the new ending automatically. But it is better, so you'll get the better ending since you've never played it before. But yeah, Shock Zulu says Mass Effect is literally Game of Thrones meets Star Trek.
You know what?
I can't say one way or the other because I've never watched Game of Thrones and I'm not huge on Star Trek. But yeah, yes, I did not say Mass Effect 3 for a reason. Gameplay was great, but story, ugh. And Andromeda, no. We were just talking about Andromeda earlier with Devil because I'm a Andromeda defender. In that I don't think it deserves as much backlash as it got. It did launch in a terrible state. I played it about a year after it launched, so all the bugs were fixed. And it was a decent, serviceable game, but it wasn't anywhere near as good as the original. But I don't think it was a terrible game. It just was okay.
You know what? That's an interesting topic. So Andromeda released like garbage. No Man's Sky released like garbage. Cyberpunk
AC Unity released like garbage.
Okay. See, I didn't know about AC Unity, but Witcher 3 released like garbage. Cyberpunk released like garbage. Now, when a game, I can't speak for Andromeda, but I can speak for Cyberpunk. And I can't speak for Witcher 3 either because I didn't play the garbage. You know what I mean? I got it after that was
Yeah,
all
I
taken
haven't.
care of.
All those games that we mentioned, of the ones I played them well after they were fixed, so I didn't have any problems.
So when a game gets fixed like that, do they get forgiven? And like, what does it take for a game to actually be fixed? Because like people, so I haven't played the latest update of Cyberpunk, but
Yeah, the
like it
Phantom
was
Liberty. I've heard it's really good.
so. But from what I understand, but it was fixed before Phantom Liberty really came out. And
Yes, that's true.
even when I played it at that point in time, which was only like maybe 3-4 months ago, I still felt like it was still kind of trash. I was like, this is still the guns. Shooting doesn't feel great on Cyberpunk. Maybe they fixed that with the new update that came out just last month or something.
Yeah, it came out. Well, it came out at the same time as the Phantom Liberty DLC. There was two things. There was the DLC, which you actually have to pay for. But if you don't buy the DLC, there was an update that changed a lot of the things in the game that everyone gets for free.
So I know a lot of people
my buddy on Party Chat, Mark the Cyborg, he talked about it when that came out, and he was saying that the update makes a lot of good changes to the game, even if you don't buy the DLC.
Yeah, I got to meet actually almost a year ago today. I met Mark the Cyborg in person.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, really cool dude. I like him.
But when I was talking to Devil, I was saying that hopefully I can make a Vegas meetup sometime and meet him and a lot of the other people that I follow.
As of this moment, I should be there as well.
Vegas. Cool. Yeah. I hope that I can make it this year. I doubt that's going to happen, but maybe the following year, or not this year, but this upcoming April. So Angry Canadian is leaving, but he says every AAA game that wasn't Nintendo released like garbage, which is pretty accurate. But thanks, Angry Canadian, for hanging out. Love having you around. So you have a great evening, and I will talk to you later.
So I would say no AAA game is perfect on release, but not all of them are garbage either.
Yeah,
like Starfield wasn't bad. So for me, in my experience with Starfield, I played it release day. It wasn't my experience. I have a 3070, not a TI or anything, just basic 3070, and it worked. It was boring, but it worked.
Yeah, Starfield, of all the latest Bethesda launches, they don't have very many because they take so long between games. But I would say that from what I've heard, because I haven't played it, Starfield had the smoothest launch because Fallout 76 was broken when it came out. Fallout 4 didn't launch in a great state. I don't remember having any troubles when Fallout 3 came out or Skyrim. But they're the most recent thing was Fallout 76, and that was definitely not good at launch. But yeah, I didn't hear a whole lot about bugs and stuff. So I think, from my understanding, Starfield launched in a pretty stable
there was
state.
some glitches out there. So there were some people who were having issues with it. But like nothing that was no crashes, nothing that was game breaking. Unlike the latest Spider-Man. That one, from some of the stuff that I've seen on the latest Spider-Man, that's not good. That's not good at all. And then, so Shock's pointed out Melee builds is where it's at for Cyberpunk, and I'm like, first person Melee is so dumb. Like all you're doing is this, like that's so.
Although
lame.
I did have a lot of fun playing Ghost Runner, which is all first person.
Okay. I've heard of that.
That was a great game. And the sequel just came out a couple weeks ago. I will definitely be playing it at some point, but I don't know when. I did play the demo, and I really liked it.
Yeah, this looks familiar.
I actually streamed the demo. I played a couple of different games that night. But yeah, Shakazu Andromeda was boring. The story definitely was not terribly interesting. But Duke Dill says he could definitely go on a rant about broken games. But the first release, I got to go to bed, so to do lost stuff tomorrow. So good night, Duke Devil. Glad you can hang out with us for such a while, if you're even still here. Good to see you, and I'll have to have you on sometime to talk video games on open mic. And Diabzilla is saying that Fallout 76 is much better. Yeah, it's pulled. I wouldn't say it's as much of a redemption as No Man's Sky is, but I've heard it's a good game now.
I've heard that they fixed it. My son, fully knowing what he was getting into, bought Fallout 76 on release day. And I'm like,
But yeah, that's basically Bethesda's MO, to put bare minimum effort. It just works. 16 times the detail.
I don't get
But,
it. I don't get it. Like, why have all that detail and have those lifeless faces? Like, it just makes no sense. I don't understand it at all. And then they're so dry. Like, dude, hire some voice actors. They're so dry in their line delivery. Like, the main story was okay, but like
heck, you could even outsource that.
yeah,
Not outsource.
dude,
It's like another, like, not outsource. Crowdsource is what I meant to say. You could crowdsource that.
probably
That would be great.
Yeah, you definitely have some fans who would be willing to just throw their hat in the ring and try and get on the game to read some lines. They would love that.
Yeah, it's like, say, hey, crowd, put out a post. Here's the lines, put out all the dialogue lines that you want, for like general NPCs that aren't story critical, so you're not spoiling any story before the game comes out. But be like, hey, send us your clips of you reading these, and if we like it, we'll put it in the game, and you'll get in the credits.
And we'll give you a copy.
That too. That'd be a great way
Might
to do it.
as well. I mean, you're saving a bunch of money. We'll give you a code to the copy of the game, and we'll put your name in the credits, and fair business deal.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I don't understand why
Yeah,
that's
they
not
gotta
more of
do
a thing
something
for
because
big games with tons of NPCs.
Even the main characters, their delivery of their lines are just so boring. It's so bad and just dry. And I don't understand how, like I said, this is like my first real full experience with the Bethesda game. And I know that that's how every other one is like. That's just how I feel. I'm like, all the rest of these are probably just like this. And why aren't you trying to put some effort?
Yeah, like I said, I haven't played Starfield yet. I totally understand where you're coming from with everything that I have seen from the game. But given that I do have quite a bit of experience in Elder Scrolls and Fallout, I definitely say at least Elder Scrolls has much more. What would be the word? I guess just personality in it.
So yeah, personality is great
in Starfield.
Yeah,
It would probably be the best way of putting it.
I would also say in older games, say like Oblivion, you could get away with that more because a lot of it you were just reading it, right? Like you didn't get a whole lot of voice acting in those. KOTOR is an example where you're reading true. like you're reading a lot of it. Now KOTOR does have a lot of dialogue, and maybe they're people talking is what sucked me in. Like KOTOR was one of the first games that just sucked me in. And I didn't like the turn-based style. I was not a fan of that, and I put up with it just to keep getting through the story. I need to play that game. It's been so long.
Yeah, I was just we were talking about KOTOR when Devil was on because I played it once when it was new. Haven't played it since. So now that I've got I know it's like super old game. My old PC probably could have handled it, but now that I've got a new PC that can actually handle modern games, at some point I'm going to be playing through KOTOR 1 again and streaming it, and I'm going to go dark side because I've never played the dark side, and then I'm going to be playing through KOTOR 2 for the first time because I never played KOTOR 2.
Yeah, I haven't played KOTOR 2 either, but I have to play the first because it's been so long. I have to go through the first one again and get that whole that experience and that story and everything back in my head. Dabzilla's got an interesting point. I didn't
exactly what I was going to bring up.
I had seen people talking about this. Bethesda relies too much on extensive modding community to fix their games and make them pretty and interesting. And I saw people talking about that while I was first getting into Starfield. And now that makes so much sense. And I haven't modded Starfield or anything. And I was like, wow, now I understand what they're saying. And I've got a buddy. He was on your show last week, Fractured Filter.
Oh, Fractured. We had a great chat.
Yeah, he's on my Thursday show with Duke Devil.
Okay.
And Shock. Cool. Shock's been on the past couple weeks. But
nice.
So Fractured's been always talking about how like Bethesda needs help. And I didn't really understand that. And now it makes sense why the mods are such a big thing for these games. And that is really sad. And you shouldn't be able to charge full price for a game like that.
Yeah, Devil and I were talking a bunch about modding and how, Skyrim probably would have been fine without it, but that's one thing that's really kept Skyrim going 11 years later is how big the modding community is for that game. Yeah, and Shaka Zulu, as you point out, you can't mod games on Game Pass, which is one of the things that I was talking about earlier because I've got Doom Eternal through Game Pass, and on the it's available on Xbox and PC. But yeah, you can't mod the Windows versions of Game Pass games. So if I wanted to mod it, which I was talking about because I've got ideas, I have to buy like the Steam or GOG version in order to mod it, unfortunately. But yes. But yeah, and Shaka Zulu is saying that Oblivion has tons of personality and is so good. Yes, definitely agree. So I would say
I was actually looking
Skyrim
into
a bunch, but you haven't played Skyrim, so that's a dumb question.
a few weeks ago. I was looking into getting into modding. I work. I'm a software automation engineer,
Okay.
and I was looking into it. I was like, I could probably do this, and I couldn't find the information I was really looking for. I wanted to change. I wanted to like alter menus, and that seems like it's not as straightforward. Like the kits that they put out for the games don't really make that possible. You have to go more into the source, and I think without being able to first use a kit for with the purpose to understand all the different files, then I'd be able to go and do my own thing. So I just lost interest. I was like, well, I don't want to do something else that's not what I want to do just to learn. Like I was just like, whatever, screw it.
Yeah. But yeah, Dabzilla saying modded Skyrim is so much fun. Yeah, that I know for a long time because they have since released the anniversary edition came out like a year or so ago and really added a lot of quality of life improvements to the game. But a lot of those things came from the modding community who were making the game better well before that existed. It's kind of like very similar to I am a Apple mobile device fan, so I've got an iPhone and an iPad, but I don't like their desktop, so I'll take a PC over like a MacBook any day of the week. But I don't have it now, but I used to always had my phone jailbroken, and it's very similar because a lot of the top level jailbreaks and tweaks for iPhone eventually get adopted by Apple and get put into the their official version of the iOS.
Yeah. So
it's just annoying how sometimes it just takes them way too long to add.
Yeah. I used to do the same thing with Android phones. I would root and hack Android phones. I would actually, there was a point in time in my life where I was building custom versions of the Android operating system.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, I used to do that all the time. And then like with Apple, the features that you could get from these custom versions of the Android operating system eventually made it into the actual OS. And so it was just like, well, there's no point to this. Uh-oh.
So Paul is saying that I'm echoing.
I don't hear an echo, so I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't either, and I've only got one mic.
Paul's got them robot ears.
So let me know, anyone else hearing an echo, or is it just Paul? Is Paul going crazy? Because we're not hearing anything, and I only have one mic.
I'm hearing you on Discord and not through YouTube, so who knows? But Paul still has robot ears.
Yeah, I don't.
He knows what he's talking. The audio guy knows what he's talking about.
He's great. So he was helping me a bunch last night because I normally stream through Restream rather than OBS. So he hopped in my chat, and we ended up. I thought I was going to go for like half hour, but I ended up going for 2.5 hours. And he came in and helped me with a bunch of OBS and audio settings, and we ended up talking about all sorts of fun stuff. And it actually turned out to be a pretty fun stream with a great chat. You have second mic active. There is. Oh, Shakalu says there is an echo. I don't know how.
I want to say I caught the last hour of your stream last night.
Oh, cool. That's right. I did see you. Can you?
Just in case, can anyone hear Nerdy Neo? So, now they can hear you, but not me.
Interesting. I am not enough of an audio person to know what's doing that.
This is just a matter of finding which switch to flip.
Just me. I have no idea why I would be hearing an echo. I only have one mic active. So, Sorry, I don't know what to do to make it better.
He says it stopped. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? Good.
It's gone. What's
It's
gone?
gone. Okay. Well, thank you for bearing with me as we've had a number of technical difficulties tonight, as this is I don't normally stream like this. I do it through a different method.
It's pilot.
Oh, Paul fixed it somehow from just watching it.
Right. Yeah.
So that's it's kind of, so I do not software work, but I work in IT as well, and it's
Okay.
hilarious how often it happens where someone's like, "Hey, my computer's doing this," and I walk over to the computer and they're like, now it's working." So it's like just my presence being there fixes it without me actually doing anything.
Yeah. I know
it
that. I
happens
know
all the
exactly
time.
that. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not an IT guy, but I'm still. They're like, computers, and I mean, I do, but like, if anyone's got a problem, I'm the one. And I kind of like it. I bitch about it, but I also kind of like it. It's thankless work, but I enjoy it because I'm a nerd. But yeah, there is that weird time where you walk, where all of a sudden that computer just starts working from your presence. It's a very
Yep.
interesting phenomenon.
All the time. Literally happens like at least once a week. Just had it happen today. They emailed me, "Hey, my computer monitor's doing something weird." I walk over and it's like, "Oh, well, it's working fine now."
You know what? What they did is they remembered, like, oh wait, I need to shut it off, turn it off and on again. Like, and so they did that while you were walking up there, and they fixed it. They just too ashamed to admit it.
So, alright, so
How did I know Dabzilla and Paul Hadouken knew each other?
Oh, oh, that's right. Dabs, I keep forgetting, but Dabzilla is Gabby, who's his lady, and she maybe I need to have her on or both of them. I don't know if she wants to ever be on. Oh, she's on some of the streams with Paul, but she is a crafting expert, so she does some amazing stuff in Grounded, which I've played a little bit of, and I'm looking forward to getting into it at some point and playing it in its entirety. Because it has a lot of similar vibes to what I was playing right before you hopped in. One of my favorite games, Subnautica. Oh yeah, and Grounded is also Obsidian, which was who did KOTOR 2 and Fallout New Vegas, and
Outer Worlds, which
Outer Worlds, yes,
Yep.
which Paul has also been streaming. The crazy thing is, we were just talking about last night on the stream, is that she's got like 8,000 hours in Ark. Which is nuts.
Oh wow.
I played a little bit of that game, but not that much. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, she loves games that you can build stuff. So, and one thing that's cool about Grounded is that you can play it into, I believe, up to 4-player co-op. So once I really get into it, I'm gonna have to play it with them. So, have you played any of those other recent Obsidian games?
No, the only Obsidian game that I played was Outer Worlds. I didn't know that they had another one
That's
since.
pretty recent.
Because that was like, I want to say when they came out with Outer Worlds was right about the time Xbox scooped them, I think.
That sounds about right. Yeah, Outer Worlds, they did Grounded. I think, yeah, well, Grounded just officially had its full 1.0 launch earlier this year, although it had been in early access for a while. And then another one that they put out recently was, I don't know how well it was received, but it really went under the radar, I think, was Ink Illuminati, if I remember correctly. Ink. Can I spell it?
Yeah, Dabzilla over saying she liked Outer Worlds. I like Outer Worlds as well. I thought it was all right. I beat it pretty quickly, and then I never went back though. I did not have much replayability on that one.
Okay, I've started that one, but I have not gone back to it yet.
Dude, back then.
No, that's Daedalic.
Yeah, back then all I did, I bought so many games on release day. Like it just like, yep, new game. I was probably buying one a week.
Let's see. It's gonna bug me now. What was that game? It really flew under the radar. It was.
And the reason why I played Outer Worlds is because everyone was talking.
Pentiment. That's what
Okay.
it was. Pentiment.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of that one, but a big reason why I wanted to play Outer Worlds was because everyone talked. I'd never really played a Fallout game, and everyone said Fallout New Vegas is the best. I was like, well, I might as well check out what these guys are putting out here.
Yeah, many people. So I played. I 100%ed Fallout 3. I've put about 10 or so hours into Fallout 4, so I haven't really gotten into it. But I know Fallout 4, a lot of people had a problem with the base, not necessarily the base building, but the base maintaining, because they're always having to go back and protect it, and it's from attacks, and it's distracting from when you actually want to play the game.
Right, yeah.
So Fallout 4 wasn't terribly, was kind of in the middle. But yeah, a lot of people regard Fallout New Vegas in its fixed form, because it also didn't launch in a great state, as the best in the Fallout franchise. And we have Acid Stormblade hopping in the chat. Good evening. Hello. Thank you for joining us for Open Mic, where we talk about video games.
Hello, Acid. Acid's one of my buddies. He's on my Thursday show too.
Cool.
He is a huge Destiny 2 nerd.
Okay. So on my I think it was Party Chat episode 1, we talked about what games have you... No, sorry. Episode 1, we talked about what games have you beaten the most. Episode 2 of Party Chat, we talked about what games have you spent the most time in, because those can be very different for games like WoW, where you never actually beat it, but you spend a lot of time in it. So, and so the answer to that question for me, the game that I have spent the single game that I've spent the most time in than any other game is Destiny 1. I never played Destiny 2, but I've played a heck of a lot of Destiny 1. So,
I don't know which game. Like, let me pull something up here.
But yeah, since while you're looking at that, Acid Stormblade, welcome. I do an open mic almost every week, where it's just an open mic where we do nothing but just talk about video games wherever the conversation takes us. No plan. And then I do every other Saturday my Party Chat, where we have questions just like that. What game have you beaten the most? What game have you spent the most time in? Who's your most hated character? What's the hardest boss you've ever beaten? Just, fun video game topics like that. So if you ever want to come on to one of those, let me know. We'll make it happen. Open mic's a little bit more flexible. I usually do it on Thursday night, but doesn't have to be. But definitely more flexible, especially with the time, than Party Chat, because that's... Party Chat has to be there because of my co-host's schedule. That's like the only time in their schedule on Saturdays that they have available. But yeah, I just love having people on to talk about video games. So happy to have you guys on. Just reach out to me, and we'll make it happen at some point.
So I am unsure which game I've spent the most amount of time in. I'm going to say Witcher 3 because I've replayed it probably 4 times in its entirety.
Nice.
Which would also be the game that I don't know if that it's game I beat the most is between that and Ocarina of Time.
Okay. Yeah. When we talk about games that you've beaten the most, it was probably between Ocarina, Halo 1. I have to go back and listen to it, but those are probably my top most beaten games, because like especially for Ocarina, my favorite Zelda game, and there was a while, probably close to a decade, where I'd play it at least once a year. Oh, yeah. And Ninja Gaiden 2.
Oh, you know what?
And Ninja Gaiden Black. Those are the other ones that I've beaten the most amount of times.
I play an Arkham City game once every year as well. So
Arkham City is good.
Those are up there too. And yes, I play Arkham Knight as well. Like, I just don't do all the Batmobile crap.
Yeah,
I love all those games.
Yeah, the whole franchise, all 4 of them are great. And I think that each one of the 4 Arkham games does something better than all the other ones. Mm-hmm. They each excel in a certain area. And James had an excellent tweet just today, and it listed all 4 of them and said, like, I think Arkham Asylum said best atmosphere. I think Arkham City was best story. Arkham Origins was best boss battles. And Arkham Knight was best gameplay, and I agree with that 100%. Okay. They're fantastic franchise. I know that Arkham Knight and Origins kind of get crapped on a lot, but they are still excellent games as well.
I love them. That Deathpool, what's his fucking name? Not Deathpool, fucking
Deadpool is Marvel. Deathstroke is DC.
Deathstroke. Yeah, that Deathstroke fight at the beginning of which one is that? Is it Origins?
Well, I know that if you're talking about the like one-on-one fight with him, that was in Origins. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty early in the game.
Yeah, as soon as that happened, I was like, "Yep, this is a great game."
The one thing that really annoyed me about that fight is there's an achievement for beating that fight without taking damage, and that was really infuriating.
Yeah.
And as a completionist, as an achievement hunter, that one took a lot of tries, and that was very infuriating.
So,
but I did get it.
I have a question about this completionist thing. Is there ever a game that you come across where like, you know what, I'm going to play this, but I don't desire to own it? You know what I mean? Like to 100%. Is it 100% everything, no exceptions?
So I used to be like that,
Okay.
where if I would look at the achievements beforehand, and if it wasn't something I could get 100% in, I wouldn't even play it.
Okay.
I'm much more relaxed on that. Now, as long as I can get most of them, because I like having a high completion percentage, so as long as I can get most of the achievements, I'll play it even if I can't get all of them. Like one of the most annoying things is I've talked about a few times is unattainable achievements when they won't unlock even when you meet the conditions to unlock them.
Yeah.
And if a game had the unobtainables in it, I wouldn't even consider playing it. But now, as long as it's not like half the game is unobtainables, I'll still play it if it looks enjoyable to me.
The question I'm trying to go after is like, okay, so you found a game and it meets your criteria, right? With the obtainables, unobtainables, and all that, it meets your criteria. Have you ever gone into one of those games and said, you know what, this is fun, but I don't really care about all the trophies or achievements or whatever? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So now I will, if it's something I know I can achieve, I will bang my head against the wall until I do it.
Okay.
But if it's something that's so insanely difficult, I know I'll never do it. I'll be like, okay, I'm good. Like Ninja Gaiden 2, I will never get 100% in because I will never beat it on Master Ninja.
So then pretty much essentially, you just don't go into a game unless you don't go into a game without the intention of completing it 100%.
Yes.
Okay.
I definitely go in with the intention of that. But there are definitely games that I won't. I may give up on if they're too difficult. There's like a few games on my gamer card that I wish I could delete because either I played them and it was insanely difficult and I only got a few of the achievements, or I accidentally got an achievement that I didn't want in a game because I didn't realize I was signed in. I was playing a game. I was playing a game, and then some friends wanted to play a game that I didn't want to put on my card, but I forgot to sign out of my gamer tag. So there's been a few of those.
Okay, yeah.
I was like, no! So there definitely are some games I wish I could delete from my gamer card for those reasons. But if it's something that I know I can achieve, I'm definitely going to go for getting as many of the achievements as possible. Probably a good example of one where I was like, okay, I'm good because and I knew this going in. I was like, I'll never get 100% in this game, but it's a fun game, and there's only like 3 achievements I'm not going to get, but those achievements are really hard, so I'm okay with that. Was my friend Pedro. Are you familiar with My Friend Pedro?
I'm familiar with Vote for Pedro.
No relation to Napoleon Dynamite. It's a really cool game. It's a side-scrolling, basically like Max Payne side-scrolling.
My birthday to get into the website for the game.
It's you go into slow motion. You have you keep combos going. You juggle enemies. You can throw a frying pan and shoot the frying pan so the bullets bounce off, and you can hit enemies around corners and stuff. You dive and roll and flip and stuff. It's a really cool game. But there's 3 achievements for getting like S ranks on all the levels, and I'm like, I'm never gonna bother with that. So I've got everything except for those 3 achievements. So I've got like, I think there's only, I'd have to pull it up, but it doesn't have a whole lot of achievements in the game, like 25 or something. So I've got like 21 or 22 out of 25. But those 3 achievements are worth like 100 points each. So I only have like 650 gamer score out of the 1,000. But I'm more interested. I hate that those 3 achievements are holding me hostage with basically 300 points of gamer score. But I'm more interested in having the that's not as big of an issue for me as having almost all the achievements is.
Yeah, this game looks crazy.
It's fun. I definitely recommend it, especially if you don't care about achievements. It's fun. It was on Game Pass, and then it left, and then it came back, but it has since left again. So who knows? It might come to Game Pass again. I do recommend it. It's a fun game.
I see it's on GOG and Humble.
Yeah, Paul's knows what to talk about. My friend Pedro is dope. It's a cool game. But yes, Shaka Zulu, I am a hardcore achievement hunter. I've never owned a PlayStation, so I haven't gotten any PlayStation trophies, but I am an achievement hunter, and I don't know if Dude is still in the chat, but Dude1286 and I are starting our episode 1 of a new stream tomorrow night, where we are going to be talking about our adventures in achievement hunting, and it's going to be a monthly stream, and it was all his idea. But yeah, the Firefly fight in Arkham Origins, I don't remember. He says that sucked. I don't remember having issues with it.
That's the one where like you're like driving around and following him.
Yeah.
And then you launch out and you beat him up. Yeah, I agree. The Firefly fights. Wow, that's a
try saying that 5 times fast.
That is a mouthful.
A mouthful.
It was
kind of lame. It's been a long time since I played Origins. I need to play it again.
It was kind of lame. I've never been too happy with some of the Croc stuff, like the Croc when you're down in the sewers
in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, like that one was fun, where you had to like make sure you got on top of the wood or he was going to eat you or whatever. Like that one was scary, but like none of the fights were great. The Bane one where you're like dodging him and like having him run into the wall or whatever was kind of lame.
That was in Origins, right before he. Yeah. That was when he got super massive on the Titan formula.
Yeah,
and he got so jacked up on it that he lost his memory because he was super smart and he knew Batman's identity, but then he lost his memory because of it.
Yeah, but I just love the fighting and just going around Gotham City. I wonder. So James bait and switched us the other week, right, with Spider-Man 2.
Oh, yeah, that was funny.
And like I remember playing that, and I was like, yes, this is moving around New York City.
I played Spider-Man. That one on GameCube back in the day.
Yeah.
And if it's the one I'm thinking of, at the end, or maybe it was Spider-Man 1. I remember whichever one I'm thinking of, at the end, you unlock the ability to play as Green Goblin and use his glider.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember that. I just remember the open worldness of it and moving around as Spider-Man. And now I'm wondering, I'm thinking Batman might have surpassed being able to do that as Spider-Man for me. Even with like I played Spider-Man 1 on the PS4. Back when that came out. I never played the DLC or anything after that. But I think being Batman in an open world for me is a lot cooler than being Spider-Man. I don't know.
Well, I don't know what I would say. But I would probably say that too, just because I played all the Arkham games, but I think that Spider-Man game on GameCube was the only Spider-Man game I've played because I don't have a PlayStation, but given that the Spider-Man 1 that you were just talking about, the PS4 one, is on PC, and I have a PC that can handle it, I do want to play it at some point. So
yeah, pick it up on sale. It's definitely worth it on sale, and you'll probably 100% it in a week, depending on how much time you have. It's really easy to 100%.
Yeah, because all of my achievement hunting has been on Xbox.
You might find it boring because all the achievement hunting is pretty much laid out on the map for you.
Which I don't have a problem with. I've played a lot of these Assassin's Creed games, which are very similar.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm just thinking, I don't think when I play like Steam games or I want to have a PlayStation, so I won't be getting PlayStation trophies. But I know their Steam achievements on a lot of Steam games. I will probably get. I'm definitely not going to be as thorough on other platforms as I am on Xbox. Okay. So, if I get Spider-Man on Steam, if the achievements are like, oh yeah, that's not too much out of the way to do it, I'll probably get the platinum or whatever, the completion. But if I have to go too much out of the way, I'm not going to care about it as much on Steam as I do on Xbox. Dude is still here. He gets bored of open world because just do everything on the map, which is totally understandable. But yeah, speaking of, well, I'll talk about that tomorrow because we're going to be talking about what our achievement hunting ventures over the last month and what we're planning on doing over the next upcoming month.
It's a very good show idea. Very good show idea.
Yeah, it was all dude. He's like, hey, we should do this because you're another big achievement hunter. I'm like, dude, I love it. Let's do it. So that'll be tomorrow night at 5 Pacific right here on Nerdy Neo because he's like, let's do it on your channel. I was like, okay, it was your idea, so I figured we'd do it on his. But no, he's like, we'll do it on yours. And what's up? Insidious Bliss is hopping in the chat. What's up, Insidious Bliss? Who was also in last night's stream helping me troubleshoot technical difficulties. So, yeah. I got nothing else unless there's anything else you wanted to bring up.
Not off the top of my head. Like I didn't honestly, I didn't know what I was coming into. I love video games, but like that's not my YouTube thing. Because I hang out with a bunch of nerds, right? Like all my YouTube friends, they all talk about the pop culture and stuff like that, which I love. But it kind of made me want to go more into like covering current events and being like weird with my brain about that. And so yeah, I didn't know, I wasn't quite sure what to expect coming into this, but I've had a blast, and yeah, I just love talking about video games. I wish there was something like, I wish I was more excited about Lords of the Fallen than I like. If you would have caught me a week ago on Lords of the Fallen, I wanted to shut up about it, right?
I wouldn't have shut up
but
about
like
it.
this last week is just like, as I've progressed further into the game, I've just realized like I'm gonna beat it, but I'm not having as much fun as I did in Lies of P and Elden Ring.
Oh, here's something I was going to ask you earlier. I don't about whether you've played it. Given I haven't played it, but I've heard nothing but good things about it, and it's very Souls-like, but with guns. Is Remnant or Remnant 2?
Dude,
did you ever play either of those?
No, but that's I need to. So I just barely started my list, and as I'm hearing these games, I'm adding them. Those are two that are definitely going on the list. I've been meaning to check those out. They look awesome.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about them. And
I
know the first one has been on sale pretty deep, at least on Xboxes.
Yeah.
That's where I look for most of my games, is especially because achievements.
Maybe it was
big on Xbox. So I've seen it. The first one go on sale at quite a steep sale. Remnant. I think I saw it for like $10.
Yeah, I was late. So I was late to Remnant 1, and I just never picked it up. And then I remember when
$14.
Yeah, when Remnant 2 was coming out, I remember seeing the trailers and was like, this looks amazing. And then just like the last one, just never got around to it.
Yeah, Remnant 1 was on sale, at least on Xbox, for $14 back at the beginning of September. So at least that one goes on sale for super cheap. The new, Remnant 2 hasn't been around that long, so it's probably not going to be that deep of a sale. But it will at some point, I assume. I have no problem waiting because I'm a frugal gamer, and I got way too many games to play in the meantime.
I have so many games that I've never even played. Like I've got System Shock 2 that I've never even installed, I don't think.
Oh, when Fractured was on last week, we were talking about System Shock.
Yeah, I watched him do his replay when he was doing that a couple months ago. I need to finish Witcher 2. I need to finish We Happy Few. I loved We Happy Few, and I never finished.
Oh, really? It. I did not hear a lot of good things about that game. It was very hyped, but then it came out, and I didn't hear much about it after that.
So all I remember is I just really liked the environment.
Kind of cool premise.
Yeah, the ambiance and everything. It's kind of like a weird version of I don't know. Have you ever seen Equilibrium?
I knew that's what you were gonna say. I was just gonna put the words in your mouth. I'm like, you're gonna say Equilibrium, aren't you?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Equilibrium is so good. I need to watch that again.
Yes, I freaking love that movie.
But like I've never played The Binding of Isaac. I have BioShock Infinite that I never beat. Well, actually, I don't know if I ever booted it up.
Gabby wants Paul to play We Happy Few. I haven't played Binding of Isaac because that's like a 400-hour completion at minimum.
Oh, okay, yeah. But yeah, I have so many games that I haven't even like. So I've played like the first hour of Amnesia: The Dark Descent, and I want to play more. I just never went back. Like I really
That's
should
definitely
stop
not
buying
on my
games, but I don't think I ever will.
backlog. Yeah, same here. It's like I should stop buying games, but I can't. But I used to. I used to be. Another thing that I've changed on more so over the years is I would, if a game, especially on like the super easy completions, because achievements have kind of gotten out of control. Because like a 1,000 point game used to mean something back in the day, and then one of the first ones that really threw that for a loop was the Avatar game. I don't know if you heard about that one, but that was the Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Yeah, yeah.
not the blue people.
From back in like
Because
PlayStation 2 days.
well, no, because there weren't achievements back then. It was a
Oh,
360
okay,
game.
yeah.
But it was like one of the first games that was like, people would play it for the score, because you literally didn't have to play the game at all. You could start in the first room in the game and get all 1,000 gamer score, so you could
Okay.
get it in like 5 minutes and not actually
Okay.
play the game, which I did. And I used to do that for any easy game I could get my hands on. Now I've been trying to get my ratio up, which is for getting more difficult achievements, which dude has a much higher ratio than I do. But we'll talk about that more tomorrow, because I've got a higher gamer score, but he has a much higher ratio. But I've definitely, I still have a few of those easy games in my backlog just because they were on sale for like $1. But I definitely don't go into sales anymore looking for those easy games. I'm looking for games that I actually want to play. Some of them may be easy, but now it's not so much if it's easy, I'll play it. I'm only gonna play it if it's super easy, if it's on Game Pass, so I don't have to buy it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, that way you don't have to spend the cash. Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been building a backlog of games, because like I mentioned earlier, some of the games that I've only dived where I've started the game and that's it, just to get it on my tag.
Yeah.
I've got a huge backlog of games that once I recover that dive and get back to my original completion percentage, I've got a whole bunch of games that I'm going to dive again. So I've been building a backlog. But I used to, anytime I saw those super easy games that you get all 1,000, or now you can get up to like 5,000 gamer score in a game, and some of them you can do it in literally like a minute, so they mean nothing. So I've kind of sworn those games off for the most part. But Shakazu, whoa, what was based on The Last Airbender? There was an Avatar Last Airbender game, and I did that where I got the first I think there was 5 achievements, and it was for getting a 10-hit combo, a 20-hit combo, 30-hit combo, a 40-hit combo, and 50-hit combo. And you could do that in the first room just by spamming B and do his air blast attack at the first enemy in the game. And I never even got past the first screen, so I have no idea whether it's a good game or not. So I've done that on a lot of those easy games, but I'm trying not to do that as much anymore and actually play worthwhile games. But yeah, Paul's saying that he only got through the first character in We Happy Few, and he's wondering, are there 3 different characters you play through that game as?
I don't know. I only played the first like maybe 10 hours.
Okay. I played it for about 5 minutes because there was a Game Pass quest for killing like 10 enemies, so I was able to do that without getting any achievements because I wasn't planning on playing that game. So I basically know nothing about the game other than it looked very Bioshock-esque.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Same with what was that Russian one that came out this year? Heart.
Oh,
Iron Hearts?
Valiant. Oh,
Valiant Hearts?
no, that's something else.
That game was very Bioshock-esque as well.
Yeah, I didn't have much Atomic Heart. There it is. Thank you,
Atomic
chat.
Heart. Yep, that's the one. Thank you, chat. You guys are always on top of it.
That one didn't. That one didn't interest me at all. Just didn't pull me in.
I had 4 Atomic Hearts all show up all at the exact same time in chat. Paul and City Shaka Zulu and Dab all said at the same time. That's funny. But yeah, so oh, looks, what is this? That is a lot of gamers, or a lot of TA. Is that the new one? No,
TNA?
that's last year's. No. So, on True Achievements, we say TA for short, because
Oh, okay.
every achievement has its TA value, and there's the gamer score value, and the TA value is more indicative because it multiplies the gamer score by the ratio. So the more people who have an achievement, the lower the ratio, and the less people who have
Okay.
the achievement, the higher the ratio, indicating it's a more difficult
Right.
achievement. So it multiplies the gamer score by the ratio to give you the TA value. So the TA value, that was the whole idea behind the True Achievements website, is because there would be achievements that are super easy that are worth like 100 gamer score, and then you have a super difficult achievement that's only worth 5 gamer score. So the idea was to come up with this TA score to be more of a balance, or more accurate representation of the difficulty of the games you've played. And so I saw someone got like 9 achievements worth like 10,000 TA, which is usually when a brand new game comes out. But apparently this is, and it was Call of Duty. I thought it was the new one. But no, this is the Call of Duty that came out last year. Unless they just got a DLC. That would surprise me. Oh! Interesting. So it is. Modern Warfare 3 doesn't come out until next week. But Modern Warfare 3 is not its own game. It's actually a DLC for Modern Warfare 2. That is really dumb.
No.
And that's how at least on Xbox, it's showing Modern Warfare 3 as a DLC to Modern Warfare 2 from last year.
How
It's
much?
not its own game. I mean, it's still, you have to buy it for probably like $60. But when it comes to the achievement list, you can't play just Modern Warfare 3.
Right.
Your achievements are tied with your Modern Warfare 2 achievements. And since he's played it when no one else has, because so few people have the achievements, he only has a couple achievements,
Right.
but the ratio is huge.
Right.
So it's like, how do you get so much TA score out of so few achievements? And that's why. It's because he got early access to the game.
How do you sell a DLC as a full game?
They did the same thing with Halo Infinite. The multiplayer is free, but the campaign is a full price DLC for like $60.
I played that on Game Pass, so I didn't have to pay anything.
But yeah, it's on Game Pass, so you can get both.
What
for
pissed
free.
me off though, so I was super stoked on Halo Infinite. I was just gonna play it because I was like, you know what, co-op is gonna have co-op. I was like, let's go.
I can't believe that it didn't launch with
Did-
that. That was ridiculous. Like,
did
how
they
difficult is it to just
did they
put
even
another
come-
character in the game?
Did they even come out with that? Did they even actually make it possible?
Yes. However,
Okay, 'cause
I
heard
don't
they
believe
were,
there's.
I heard they were stopped. Like not even.
I haven't played Infinite yet, but I'm almost positive that they did release co-op, but you can't do split screen co-op. You have to do it over Xbox Live.
Okay.
So it doesn't have couch co-op, which they did in Halo 5 as well, which was another huge shot in the foot because Halo is known for being a couch co-op game, but they didn't have couch co-op in Halo 5. If you want to do co-op, you had to do it over Xbox Live, which is dumb. So I'm pretty sure that's the state of Infinite at this point as well, as you can do co-op, just not on the same Xbox, on the same TV. But I was talking to someone recently, and they were saying that Halo Infinite is their favorite Halo. I was like, interesting.
Okay.
That bodes well, because I haven't played it yet. The annoying thing is that, given that RTS is one of the franchise genres I don't do, a lot of the story in Infinite comes from Halo Wars 2, but I've never played Halo Wars because I'm not a fan of RTSs.
Mhm.
So it's like kind of like with the Ahsoka show. If you didn't watch Clone Wars and Rebels, you might not know what's going on. It's like I didn't play Halo Wars 2, so I don't know what's going on in Halo Infinite, and from what I've heard, they don't care to explain it. You're just supposed to expected to know these things.
Paul, this is a family show.
Yeah, and City's Bliss is with me. No split screen co-op is a crime. But yeah, Halo Reach and ODST are technically DLC in them. Yes, that's right as well. But they were their own standalone games originally. But they were added as DLC to the Master Chief Collection. That's true. And then Shaka Zulu is saying, or wait, who is it? Oh, Paul, I think was saying that the Atomic Heart was goofy and had some good character and humor to it. But dude's saying, I prefer how Metagamer Score does it rather than True Achievements. Just creates a value based on how many people own the game and have achieved the Chivo. No ties to the score on, like the gamer score. That's probably cool too, because like I was saying, how it on True Achievements is tied to the gamer score times the ratio. So you could have a very difficult achievement, but if it's only worth 5 gamer score, even if it has a high ratio, it's only worth, like if it has a 5 or 6 ratio, which is pretty difficult, that only makes the TA value worth 25 or 30. where you have a low ratio achievement where the 100 gamer score, but it's got a 1.5 ratio, is worth 150 TA. So I'm not familiar with metagamer score, but I definitely like the sound of that better as well. Dabzilla likes RTS games and is playing Dune Spice Wars right now. That's cool. Yeah, like I said, I'm not into RTSs, but I do know of that one. Oh, and Dude was saying earlier that he's achievement hunting right now as we're speaking. So I'm curious, Dude, what is it you're achievement hunting right now? Or don't answer that and we can talk about it tomorrow. Either way.
I'd say it's probably going to come up tomorrow.
Probably. Due to saying that Halo Wars was a fun RTS, even if you aren't into them as much. And one of the things that I mentioned on one of my party I think it was one of my party chats, might have been open mic, about one thing that really annoys the heck out of me on any game and might turn me off to the game entirely is especially prevalent in tutorials, but it doesn't have to be specifically the tutorial. But when the tutorial is the most handholdy to the nth degree, and Halo Wars tutorial was the epitome of this, and that's why I played the tutorial and never bothered to play the game. Doesn't help at all that I don't like RTSs to begin with. Yeah. But so one thing that drives me nuts is when it's like, okay, go to the wheel and select this item. It won't let you do anything else until you select that thing, and they're like, oh, put it on this square right here. And then you can't do anything else until you put it on that square. It's like, tell me what to do, but then let me do it. Yeah. So let me pick that item and then let me place it where I want. And it's like, oh, now take this item and put it right here. And if you don't put it right there, you can't continue. That is one of my biggest pet peeves and drives me nuts. And the Halo Wars tutorial did that, and I hated it.
Hasn't Nintendo kind of gotten a little guilty of that with, I know Luigi, the last Luigi Mansion was really handholdy.
Shaka Zulu. Thank you. Shaka Zulu says, I hate that too. I don't know because my last Nintendo console was the Wii, so I haven't played anything on Nintendo since then. But yeah, when I think about hand-holdy tutorials, Halo Wars is the first one that comes to mind. I'm sure there are plenty of others that I could probably think of if I put some thought into it, but that one is the epitome of it. And I'm pretty sure that's one of the things that we've talked about on Party Checks. I know I've mentioned this a couple times before. Yeah. But it might have been on open mic.
When it comes to the tutorial, just let me know just enough to be dangerous. And then let me figure the rest out.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, 2 weeks in a row, I've set a new record because last week open mic was the longest one I'd ever done with Fractured Filter, a little over 3 hours. Tonight was a little different since I had one guest and I had about 45-minute break and I did some gaming and then had another guest on. So this is definitely by far my longest one, coming up here on 4 hours. So I have not eaten anything today since breakfast, so I'm kind of hungry. So I'm gonna go eat.
Sounds like a good idea.
But as you said, you had a great time coming on here and chatting. I had a great time having you on and chatting. That's what I love about open mic, is just getting to talk to people about video games. I don't think there's been an open mic I didn't enjoy talking to someone about. So anyone in the chat, I always say, if you ever want to come on and talk video games with me, let me know. I'm happy to have anybody on. Before we wrap it up here, go ahead and plug your channel, what you got going on, what you got coming up.
Yeah. So you can find me on my channel is Static 2020. Like I said, I talk about current events. It's a little more political. Like I'm going to be making a video tomorrow about Pittsburgh wanting to teach about white supremacy in their math classes. And other random stuff. I also stream games on there. I'm streaming Lords of the Fallen right now when I get around to it. Maybe I'll find some time this weekend. That would be nice. And let's see what else. And then I've got my show on Thursdays with the weekend pregame where I got a bunch of cool dudes. We all just come hang out. They're all really smart and we have really amazing conversations. So if that's something you like, and we definitely try to include the chat in our conversations. If that's something that's you'd like, come check out my channel.
Cool. Excellent. Well, as I said, Dude and I are starting our new stream tomorrow at Friday at 5 o'clock Pacific called Achievement Chasers, where we're going to be talking about our recent ventures in achievement hunting. So that'll be a monthly thing. It'll usually be around the beginning of the month or maybe at the end of the month, so that we can talk about what we've been doing that month. And then I've got my next episode of Party Chat on Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, as usual. And my guest host for this week is going to be Paul Hadouken, good buddy of mine. And I still need to figure out the rest of the topics because I have only got 2 on the docket so far. So I need to figure out what our other topics are going to be, and I'm going to get that to him tonight before I go to bed.
What time do you do that one at? The Party Chat?
11:30 a.m. Pacific,
okay, 11:30.
On every other Saturday.
Because I know I will be on a show tomorrow at midnight Saturday with Paul.
Are you going to be on Beelzebub?
I am on Beelzebub tomorrow night.
Because I just had Devil on right before you,
Yeah.
so he was plugging Beelzebub before he bounced out as well.
I know is Paul's only gonna have a little bit of sleep before he's got to jump on with you.
Yeah, because I mentioned it on the a couple days ago in Discord, and he's like, I mean, I might be able to, but I'm gonna be up all night with Beelzebub. Then you're in the morning, so I don't know. And then last night when I was doing my test stream, he's like, you know what? Count me in. I'm in. I was like, all right, awesome. 'Cause, yeah, I don't think that guy ever sleeps. And then, so that is the only other thing I've got planned is I will be on the second half of Get Ranked with Devil's channel next Sunday.
Great
a week
show.
from this Sunday.
Last week was awesome. Last
ranking
was
video
awesome,
game consoles, so we're going to do part 2 a week from Sunday. And then I'll have an open mic next week. No one's lined up yet, so if anyone wants to be open mic next week, it will have to be a little bit later in the evening. Typically I do Thursday, but I can move it around to not every night of the week, but I can move it around to other nights if I need to accommodate schedule. So if anyone wants to be on open mic next week, let me know. And yeah, that about does it. Had a great time having you on and chatting video games. Thank you everyone for joining us in the chat. Paul is always here, Insidious Bliss, Shaka Zulu, Dabzilla, Dude 1286. I can't scroll any farther down, but my buddy Rocker Dude was in here earlier. Duke Devil. Appreciate all you guys coming and hanging out with us. You all have a good night, and we will talk to you later. And in the meantime, everyone, game on. Let's see.
Bye.